Go, 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 go. Back in the bed. I never left. Testing, testing. 323, 323. I'm just drinking. That's all I drink. One time on the time one. And I want to be more. I got home and for. Yeah. Yo, what's the word? Mm-hmm. Yo, y'all been decent, my boy. Just been shit cool and just trying to make shit happen. You feel me?
Now, Wooly O.
Even if I find something, it's straight. Yeah. Hey, yes, yes. Hey, I don't know. Body counter. Right. They done got another UK drill rapper. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's like every time when I find out about a new drill rapper, I find out about another one getting locked up. Sometimes when I find out about the new drill rapper, it's because I found out about him. Redo, scratch it. Every time I find out about a new UK, nah, yeah, we're gonna do it. Every time I find out about a new UK drill rapper, it's because they got locked up. I ain't gonna lie to you. I never really find out about a new UK drill rapper while they're free. I ain't gonna lie to you. I found out about Digga D when he in jail. Everybody while they in jail, except for Central C. I found out about Central C and he wasn't in jail. You feel me? But this is another rapper that I didn't know who he was until this video. You feel me? And if y'all ain't know, he's going to jail.
Now, Wooly O gang members have seemed to have gotten themselves into a lot of trouble recently. For those who don't know much about the gang, it's an alliance based in Woolwich, SC18, in the borough of Greenwich, South London. The sets in the alliance are as follows: DYB from the Dockyard Estate, 106, Woolwich Dockyard, OTG, Marion Grove, and finally DDF, Morris Walk. You may have heard of their drill rapper Erna. He has some good songs here and there. He was also involved in a...
He said he got some good songs every here and there. When your own UK people, your own UK brethren say you got good songs here and there, I'm assuming it's a reason why I never found out about this rapper. If the UK people don't even think you that good, then of course you ain't gonna be good to Americans at all. I ain't gonna lie to you, man.
case where he punched Quankface and recorded...
Whoa. He punching Quang Face? I did hear about Quang Face. I don't know who he is though. I just found out about Quang Face not too long ago too.
Ordered him, resulting in Quangface retaliating by paying fellow gang member Snoop to shoot up his house, which Quangface is currently.
Nah, bro, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. If you not finna go out there yourself to do it, you just don't need to get it done. I ain't gonna lie to you because paying someone to go do something, the only thing that's gonna do is 9 times out of 10 gonna get you locked up, and you didn't even do it. You feel me? And you paid someone to still go to jail. So it's like if you're gonna go to jail regardless, you might as well just do it yourself. You feel me? In my opinion, save your money.
Locked up for. Now on the 20th of November 2023, 3 men agreed to meet Woolly O members in Averley to purchase some phones, but were instead robbed of £4,000. One victim was struck by one of the men holding a handgun, causing the loaded magazine to fall to the ground. When police officers arrived at the scene, the suspects had gone, but the same magazine was located.
Behind that car. Down on your knees.
You under arrest. You can. Yeah. Conspiracy to commit robbery. Okay. Also possession of a firearm. Yeah.
But it will make it a lot easier to save us seizing every phone in this house if you tell us where your phone is.
At this moment in time, you're under arrest for perverting the course of justice. You don't have to say anything but it may on your defence. Do not mention when questioned something you don't rely on in court. Anything you do say.
Bro, it looked like he finna have an anxiety attack. I ain't gonna bap to you. It looked like he need his asthma pump or something.
May be given in evidence.
The following morning, officers carrying out further inquiries returned to the scene where they located Brian Adu. When addressed, he claimed to be cleaning his shoes. However, he was found to be in possession of a zombie knife and arrested.
I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Anyone with this type of hairline and he got the lips. You see, my little cousin, when he was younger, his lips used to get white like this too. And that's how I knew my cousin was gonna be a crash out. Because his lips used to get white just like that. All the time. Like, how did your lips just get white like this? That means you got crash out inside your blood. I ain't gonna lie to you. We don't condone any of that in this educational documentary.
A mobile phone seized from Adu contained a high volume of material referencing gang violence and footage of the gang handling firearms and referring to its criminal use. Evidence pertaining to 2 shootings in Cherry Orchard Estate, London in October and November 2000.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you. Y'all playing a little too crazy out there in the UK for me. Cause it's like, bro, it's already bad enough that they taking down y'all videos and y'all don't even be having guns up in the videos. Now y'all literally making videos about guns and stuff, bro. You going down. You going down. Anyone that's posting videos of them using guns in the UK, bro, you is going to jail because the UK don't want that type of image to go out to the world. You feel me? The UK want everyone to think that y'all just a nice, sweet place and nothing going on. So if you out here recording that type of stuff so the rest of the world can see, they most definitely gonna get on that with you. You feel me? Because they really trying to protect their image. That's why they be banning all y'all drill rappers and stuff, and they want y'all to be like Central C. And if you ain't like Central C, they gonna try their best to make sure you don't make it out to the mainstream.
2023 were also recovered from the device. In the first incident, 2 9mm casings were recovered from the scene, but the intended target for the shooting has never been identified. In the second incident, the victim sustained a non-fatal gunshot wound to his arm.
I don't know why, bro. It looked like, bro, it looked like he would tell. I don't know why. I'm looking at folks and I just feel like folks would tell. I might be wrong. I might be right. I don't know.
Full links between 3 offences were established in March 2024. All the cases were then combined and a joint investigation was undertaken by Essex Police, the Metropolitan Police and the Crown Prosecution Service. Now Brian Adu, Stephen Ayanlei, Rokeeb Ladega and Gabriel Adepoju all pleaded guilty on the
Abdul Ajajabu. I ain't gonna lie. All these names I could tell they is not from. They African or Jamaican. Like I could tell those type of names that if I can't pronounce it, I'm assuming that it's like probably African, Jamaican. I don't know. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I'm an American.
The first day of trial, which started on December 2nd last year. Brian Adu was jailed for 4 years after pleading guilty to conspiracy to possess a firearm with intent to cause fear of violence between 23rd of October and 22nd of November 2023, and previously pled guilty to an offence of possession of a sharp-pointed article in a public space on the 21st of November 2023. Rakib Ladeyaga was also jailed for 4 years after pleading guilty to conspiracy to possess a firearm with intent to cause fear of violence between 23rd of October and 22nd of November 2023. Stephen Ayaleyi was jailed for 5 years after he pleaded guilty to conspiracy to possess a firearm with intent to cause fear of violence. Now 4 years imprisonment was handed down to Gabriel Adepoju, who pleaded guilty to conspiracy to possess a firearm with intent to cause fear of violence between 23rd of October 2023 and the 22nd of November 2023, as well as conspiracy to pervert the course of justice between 19th of November 2023.
Man, they hitting people with lots of conspiracies, bro. I ain't gonna lie. It's like I can never get away from the word conspiracy, bro. Like all the rappers in America getting hit with conspiracy charges. They hitting UK people with conspiracy. Man, y'all better be safe out here, bro. There's lots of conspiracies going around.
2023 and the 15th of February 2024. Following the 8-week trial, the last two men, Erna, real name Daffy Oregon, and Karan Singh, were convicted by jury on the 29th of January 2020.
Oh, I don't trust these two. I don't trust these two. I ain't gonna lie to you. I would not want to do no crimes with these dudes, bro. I just feel like they is not trustworthy people at all.
5. Daffy Oregon and Karan Singh were both convicted of conspiracy to possess firearm with intent to endanger life and pervert the course of justice. Oregon was jailed for a total of 15 years and Singh was jailed for a total of 9 years.
Dang.
The 6 Woolio gang members have been jailed for a total of 41.5 years.
41.5 years in total. No, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Well, a big part is, like I said, bro, once they got to showing videos of what they was doing, I knew they was cooked. The UK don't play about that type of stuff. Like they already get on that with y'all for the little stuff that y'all be posting on the internet. You're not finna be out here posting blicks and stuff, making drill songs, and you think the UK not finna get on that with you? Yes, they hitting you with conspiracy, adhering, all types, whatever they can hit you with, they gonna hit you with. You feel me? Just because you out there making the UK look bad. But if you like educational documentaries like this, then like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you never, ever miss out on any educational, informational documentaries like this. What's up? What's up, my boy? From Fingers. Yes, sir. My boy MB, what's the word? I see lots of people over on Twitch with it. Yes, sir. People getting on the Twitch with it. That Twitch with it. Oh, in Dublin? In Dublin? Oh, yeah, in Ireland. So, you in Dublin on game. Would you consider North Ireland Ireland? Because I be having a debate with people and I be saying North Ireland is Ireland. And they be like, no, it's the UK. How the fuck can North Ireland, bro? No. How the fuck can North Ireland not be Ireland if it's in Ireland? That shit literally in the same island. You gotta motherfucking take a flight or a boat to even get to like the UK, bro. That's y'all shit, gang. That's y'all shit, bro. I ain't gonna back to you, bro. I literally be trying to tell motherfuckers, bro. And they white and I watched it. I watched the history lessons on it, bro. They had me watch it. I still feel like it's still what I said, gang. That's still y'all stuff, gang. On gang. I don't know what UK, England, whoever talking about, gang. That's y'all stuff, gang. Y'all all Ireland. Ireland don't get along with North Ireland allegedly. Yeah, I heard it's a big war that they had going on over that stuff. I'm like, man, they real life tweaking. Let me do this shit.
If you're over 18 and you want to see the uncut version of my videos, they're available to my supporters over on patreon.com/traplawross. This video has been put together as a historical account of the events that unfolded in this story. No disrespect is intended, and rest in peace to everybody in this video who lost their lives.
Trap Lou, I don't care about no one that passed away in this video. He don't. He don't at all, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Trap Lou Reezy, bro. He just trying to get that money on, bro. I respect him, bro. He might probably do care. I don't think he care. Me personally, I wouldn't care. So, I mean, that's why I said I don't think Trap Lou Rock would care. You feel me? Well, let me see what you've been talking about on Twitter. Let me see what you've been talking about. What page is that, though? Let me see. Because I could just say UFC fighter stole. Oh, yeah. Now I got that for sure. I just added inside my shit. I'm going to do that for sure before I hop off live. But I'm going to come over on Twitch to do that. But I just put it inside my thing. By this Neri Hirina fight stories or something. I got you, my boy. I'm gonna do it on Twitch. I just added it into my shit so I don't forget it. Mm-hmm. Alright, that video on the list today. I got it added into my list. I got a video up right now already, but I'm gonna do that on Twitch for sure. I got it inside the thing. I just added it up in there. We should do a video on a general. You talking about the general? You talking about general that's in the chat? I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm up, bro. Folks, he a poodle. Folks fell asleep on game. He fell asleep. I ended up smoking a blunt. I motherfucking ate me some food. I'm like, I'm finna hop back on live, folks. Sleep. He couldn't hang, bro. He couldn't hang, folks. KO'd on the couch. Folks, a poodle. Poodle. That's poodle behavior right there, bro. I should drench him in water, bro. I ain't gonna drench him in water, bro. That'd just be diabolical. Just instantly, Okay, oh no, we're gonna do that to folks though. That'd be diabolical, bro. That's an evil. That was some evil things we used to do back in the day, drenching people and stuff. Boy, that was crazy, bro. Muhammad Ali. I know he was crazy, man. Muhammad. Bro, there's so many Muhammad's in the UK drill and all that shit, bro. Muhammad's, bro, in Canada and in Sweden too. I guess Muhammad's just everywhere, bro. That should be crazy. But the most I heard about these Muhammad's and shit, bro, is from y'all countries, bro. I ain't gonna back to you. I know, of course, I know Muhammad's and shit, but I personally don't know no Muhammad. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I heard of Muhammad's, like Muhammad Ali. But I can't really say too much else. Bro. I don't know no other Muhammad. Muhammad and Philly, they out here. Everybody know they get wild in Chicago, but do y'all know about the East Side? Over East, to be exact. You feel me? Some people say the East Side. The people from over there say over East. If you not from Chicago, you probably gonna say the East Side. But if you from Chicago, you gonna say over East. You feel me? Now, I grew up over East on 90th for commercial. So that's why we watching this video. Because this is where I grew up at. You feel me? And this video is on G Herbo on them. No Limit. They from over East. Over on Essex and stuff, which is like 5-6 minutes away from where I grew up at and stuff. You feel me? It's literally around the corner. I ain't gonna bap to you. But let's see what they got going on in Chicago.
Chicago police have filed their first murder charge stemming from the deadliest weekend Chicago has seen this year.
She called Ted Town like that because used to cause terror.
I was a part of the war on Chirac. I'm the product of the war on Chirac.
Smoking on Katie Pack, Imposto, and Mr. the Most.
It's only two.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. That's one thing that I would say I didn't like about Juice WRLD. I feel like personally, bro, you shouldn't be dissing people, bro. Like, cause Juice WRLD, he wasn't like, you know, everybody messed with Juice WRLD, but we know Juice WRLD wasn't gang banging. He wasn't in the streets and none of that stuff, bro. So it's like for you to be saying that type of stuff, I feel like, of course, you feel me, G Herbo and them ain't gonna let nothing happen to you, bro. You they artists, you feel me? But still, bro, I feel just have respect, bro. I feel like it's more so a respect thing, and it's like kind of like, why do you have respect for they ops? It's not having respect for they ops. It's having respect for like the whole street culture itself in this way. Like me personally, y'all see, I don't never diss nobody. You feel me? Even if I'm cool with certain people, I still don't diss them. You feel me? I'm like, that's what they got going on. You feel me? I don't do that diss and stuff. You feel me? Especially if I don't got no beef with them.
Things that come to the streets. Jail or death. I cried a lot of nights being in the streets.
No, I'm talking about. You don't want no McDonald's, man. No McDonald's. Sending me messages on Instagram. You gonna be the next pack. A lot of niggas get on and forget that. Like her.
I had to cut ties completely.
Yeah, this is no homicide investigation. God be the one out here killing people. God just bought a switch. He just aimed that bitch down here.
When it comes to Chicago drill music, there is no more famous hood than O Block. The Parkway Gardens housing development, as it's officially known, spawned a generation of rappers who pioneered the modern-day rendition of gangster rap that you may know as.
Before O Block, it was like Cabrini Greens. Like that was like the most mainstream hood that everybody knew about. I ain't gonna lie to you, be for real, bro. O Block really didn't become known. Like, no one ain't care about O Block until Chief Keef. You feel me? Because lots of people be thinking like, oh yeah, everybody was just talking about O Block. Honestly, bro, when y'all start really figuring out about O Block, that's when lots of Chicago start figuring out about O Block. Because if you don't got no beef with them and you not in that area, you got your own stuff going on. So you honestly could care less what the old Blockiest got going on. So once y'all start hearing about them, that's when we start hearing about them as well. But we always knew they was around type shit. We just wasn't hearing about them.
drill music. People like Chief Keef rose to the top of the rap game off of the back of booming tracks that painted a picture of life on one of America's most dangerous blocks. But while people like Chief Keef were getting famous with their stories and raps about the life on Chicago streets, people like King Von were actually in the streets, killing rival gang members or ops, settling scores for their dead members, and defending their block in what has become a literal domestic war zone. My recent video on the murder of FBG Duck was a 2.5-hour breakdown where we looked at dozens of murders taking place on Chicago's South Side, the shocking reality behind the Chicago drill music that has become so popular. It's a story that saw countless young, promising, and talented men losing their lives early for what really seemed like a feud over nothing. O-Block and the war on Chicago's South Side tends to attract the main focus of coverage about Chicago drill.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, when it comes to like the rappers and everything, bro, it's like really the East Side really just now starting to get like its glory. Real deal, bro. Like the over East was slept on for a good minute, like, cause I mean we really didn't have nobody either. Outside of G Herbo, who else did we really have that was mainstream over East? Nobody for real, you feel me? And now we starting to get people, you know, we had like Lil Schoon, Long Live Lil Schoon. He actually lived right around the corner from me inside the apartment. So I stayed up on Buffalo and stuff. So long live him and stuff. Actually, they got some people that's actually good over there. Shout out my boy Eastside Mari. Go by Blockstar now. Folks actually good with the music, man. If y'all want to get some new Chicago music, bro, check them out. Because y'all going to be hearing about them school. Y'all going to hear about them soon. Because lots of the people like Lil Josh. Lil Josh, bro, I've been knew about my boy Lil Josh. But now everybody got in tune with him, you feel me? So I'll be putting y'all in tune with the people before the world know about them.
And street goings on. But Chicago is a big city, with talented rappers and fearsome gangbangers hidden away in every corner and pocket. So today we're going to head east and look at a slightly less famous, but equally if not more
they go my old school right there. I hated that school, bro. Epic Academy. That school right there. Oh, y'all can't even see it, bro. It's this school, Epic Academy. It's right there on the map, bro. Horrible school, bro. My face is in the way, so you can't see it, bro. I'm like, bro, no one don't talk about that school at all, bro. Like, it's a very bad school, bro. I hated that school.
Bloody war like taking place in another part of.
And this is why I live there over here. This South Shore and stuff by Rainbow Beach. I lived on 76 in South Shore. You feel me? I really could tell y'all, this is my old hospital. I used to go to Laura Beer right here. I could tell y'all this whole area off the back of my head. I could tell y'all everywhere over here.
Chicago that has had an enormous impact on the gangster rap and drill music scene coming out of the city. This is an area that has been so dangerous for decades now that the locals have nicknamed it Terror Town. And this is also an area that has spawned another one of the most famous rappers in Chicago drill history, G Herbo. Over the course of his career, G Herbo went from being shot at on the Terrortown blocks to touring the country and taking in millions of dollars. But that come up wasn't easy. Herbo grew up witnessing decades of danger and violence on his block, with many of his childhood friends losing their lives in front of his very eyes. Fortunately for G Herbo, he was able to put the pain that he witnessed and experienced in the streets into his art and his music, with his subsequent success taking him far away from the Terrortown blocks that terrorized him and his friends most of their childhood. I mean, it's no wonder that his biggest charting album is titled PTSD, but sadly, getting away isn't easy, and many of his friends wouldn't be so lucky. And while G Herbo was living at large, traveling on private planes,
I ain't gonna lie, is Trap Blue Reezy looking like an emo? He kind of looked emo in this video. On my trip, he looked a little bit emo.
War was still going on back at home. Year after year, bodies would continue dropping, and some of Herbo's friends would be wondering why he was so lucky and not them. This is a story of betrayal, brutality, but most importantly, brotherhood, with the gang that Herbo and his crew grew up representing going by NLMB, which on the streets stands for the No Limit Muskegon Boys, but to fans of Herbo's music,
Muskegon? Muskegon? He said it kind of weird.
NLMB stands for Never Leave My Brothers. So today, we'll be taking a closer look at one of Chicago's most dangerous blocks, where dozens of men get left behind to die, and only a lucky few make it out alive. Chicago drill music and the gangs that young Chicago rappers affiliate themselves with tend to have long and storied histories. The Black Disciples and the Gangster Disciples that the likes of King Von and FBG Duck belonged to respectively also had a long history themselves. The BDs and the GDs folklore dates all the way back to the 60s, when the likes of Larry Hoover and David Barksdale fought for influence over the city's drug trade and thousands of young men looking for guidance in the most troubled areas of Chicago, and unfortunately leaving countless bodies in their wake. But when it comes to today's Eastside-based No Limit gang, the modern-day rappers and gangsters that rep No Limit actually descended from another Chicago street gang with a very long and complicated history too. In this case, it's the Black P Stones.
In the 60s, the biggest, baddest gang of all was the Blackstone Rangers. One of its organizers was a skinny kid from Aberdeen, Mississippi, an unlikely-looking leader by the name of Jeff Fort.
Originally known as the Blackstone Rangers, this was a street gang formed by young black men who lived around 66th Place and Blackstone Avenue in Chicago's South Side. This crew was apparently formed all the way back in 1959 at the St. Charles Institution for Troubled Youth by Eugene the Bull Hairston and Jeff the Angel Fort. And like many of the famous street gangs that we know today, the Blackstone Rangers originally formed to protect its members from the danger of the many other street gangs that were emerging in the streets of Chicago around.
I ain't gonna lie, really, honestly, and I'm assuming it's like that not just in Chicago, but most gangs started off with like good, history behind it, like, you feel me, or it started because, you feel me, they just need to protect themselves from, other people that was treating them wrongly. But lots of gangs started off good, and then it ended up turning into what we know today as something like super duper bad.
The time.
Racial change, economic change, cultural change, they grew out of that turmoil.
One particular rival that the Blackstone Rangers had formed to protect themselves against were the Devil's Disciples from nearby Kenwood, not to be confused with the biker gang of the same name. Back and forth street battles between these two crews persisted throughout the 60s, by which point an estimated 200 people...
I don't know if you're gonna mention that, but Devil Disciples, that's what David Barksdale was. The founder of the BDs, he was a Devil Disciple, you feel me? And honestly, the BDs, GDs, all that stuff came around after, you feel me, BGD broke up. Because before BGD came around, it wasn't no GDs and BDs, you feel me? GDs were Supreme Gangsters, BDs, Devil Disciples, you feel me? It wasn't none of that GD, BD stuff if you go a little bit farther back. All that stuff was once BGD broke up, you feel me?
Had joined the Blackstone Rangers, giving not only the rival gangs something to worry about, but also the local police.
Had you as a police officer ever seen anything like that before?
No.
Never. Eugene Hairston was the founder and leader of the Blackstone Rangers, going by the nickname Bull, with Jeff Fort his vice president and second in command, with him going by the monikers Black Prince or Angel, the latter apparently coming from his gift for diplomacy and an ability to help squash conflicts between the Rangers and other gangs. In fact, unlike the modern-day gangs of Chicago, who seem primarily concerned with settling scores and murdering rivals, back then Jeff Fort's talent for diplomacy were deployed in an effort to prevent the Blackstone Rangers from going to war and killing other gangs, with Jeff Fort instead attempting to forge alliances between these small and fractured street crews. And he was very...
And that's the thing right there. Lots of people believe that Larry Hoover was a Stone because, Jeff and all the Stones and Hoover, he was cool with him or whatever. But Larry Hoover was never a Stone, you feel me? Because it's people inside my comments arguing currently till this day, trying to tell me that Larry Hoover was a Stone. He was never a Stone. I ain't gonna lie to you. I know he didn't say this don't got nothing to do with this video. I'm just reiterating that because I seen someone comment on my video about that once again.
Very successful at this, eventually forming a sprawling alliance or nation of gangs, counting a total membership in 1969 to be as many as 8,000 members, and forming a council of numerous gangs aiming to control the city, going by the title the Main 21.
21 gangs would join under the umbrella of the Blackstone Rangers. There would be a ruling council called the Main 21 and a new gang name, the Black P Stone Nation. Some would argue the P stood for power. The nation was 4,000 strong. There were some struggles over leadership, but in the end, it was Jeff Fort who emerged is the man in charge.
All the gangs were united under the banner of the Black P Stone Nation, or BPSN. Each gang in the nation were considered a brick in the pyramid, hence their infamous logo. And for a period starting in the late 60s, the organisation actually gained political legitimacy, famously working with a local community association that had been given a $1 million grant developing a...
Lots of gangs was getting $1 million grants. From what my grandpa tell me, them grants is what really messed up the hood and community, because they started letting them gang leaders that was getting them grants, they started letting that money get to their head and stuff. And you know, money corrupt lots of people, you feel me? And it started to become more so about the money than the community itself once they end up getting that type of money. And that's what changed lots of things too, from what my grandpa said.
Program that aimed to get members of the Blackstone Rangers and the Devil's Disciples into honest work and employment programs. During this time publicly, the Black P Stones were beginning to look a lot more like a group of community activists than an active street gang. For example, some in politics around this time had praised the P Stones for having played a role in preventing violent reprisals from the black community in the wake of the Martin Luther King assassination. This had politicians at the time praising Jeff Fort for his successful gang diplomacy, with Fort even being invited to President Nixon's inauguration, leading many to believe that Jeff Fort might just have a bright future in politics. But under the surface, things were perhaps slightly more sinister. It was said that during this period, Black P Stones had been shaking down local store owners for protection money in exchange for preventing violence following the Martin Luther King assassination, with critics of the Black P Stones describing them more as a mafiosa-style protection racket than group of community activists. And from here, soon cracks would begin to emerge in the public persona of the Black P Stones. On the streets, they were at war with the Disciple Nation and Gangster Nation that would later merge into the Black and Gangster Disciple gangs, made famous in modern-day drill music. In fact, as a result of this violent conflict playing out on the streets, made famous in modern-day Gangster Nation that would later merge into the... On the streets, they were at war with the Disciple Nation and Gangster Nation that...
Disciple Nation and Gangster Nation? I mean, yeah, they were disciples and supreme gangsters.
Would later merge into the Black and Gangster Disciple gangs, made famous in modern-day drill music. In fact, as a result of this violent conflict playing out on the streets, eventually the Black P Stones leader and founder, Eugene Bull Hairston, would arrange an assassination attempt on Black Disciples founder David Barksdale, aka King David, in 1968. The shooting of King David would be carried out by a group of 14-year-old P Stone members who would attempt to assassinate David Barksdale armed with M14 rifles in a contract killing being paid only a sum of $1 each. King David would...
Whoa. And you see, that was 1966. So how much was a dollar worth in 1966? How much was a dollar worth in 1966? Bro, that was worth... Bro, that's about $9.80, bro. So y'all telling me y'all crashing out for $9.80, bro? That's diabolical. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. We don't condone anything inside this educational documentary.
Initially survived this assassination attempt, but unfortunately his gunshot injuries would later claim his life around 6 years after the shooting. Eventually the authorities...
And I'm not surprised that he survived. Like, let's be real, bro. You hired someone for $1. Honestly, you should be lucky if they even got the job done. Honestly, for $1, you lucky if they even hit the target. To be honest with you, bro.
Authorities would crack down on the Black P Stones as a political organisation, prosecuting Jeff Fort himself for misusing federal funds in connection to the job training program made possible by the city's $1 million grant. This was a move which some considered simply a right-wing attack on Black Chicago's attempt to bring about legitimate change through politics.
We were trying to do something about a situation that was literally destroying this community.
With many pointing out that only a fraction of that $1 million grant ended up in the hands of the P Stones, but that simply didn't matter when the headlines read, "Gang leader steals $1 million from the US government." Jeff Fort would later be found guilty of conspiring to misapply federal funds, being sentenced to 5 years in prison. During his time in jail, Jeff Fort would convert to Islam, more specifically the Black Muslim organization, the Moorish Science Temple of America.
And that's why the moles is the moles. Alright, because I ain't gonna lie to you. I never really knew, like, why Stones was Muslim. You feel me? I know they Muslim because they Stones, but I didn't know what like made Stones really Muslim. You feel me? Like, how did they even get to where they is today?
And upon being freed in 1976, Fort would form the El Rukn tribe of the Moorish Science Temple, with El Rukn translating to the pillar in Arabic, and coming up with a new nickname, swapping out the formerly diplomatic title of the Angel, now referring to himself as Chief Malik, or the Ruler. And in the process of establishing his new religious organization, Jeff Fort also purchased an old vacant movie theater called the Oakwood on the corner of 39th and Drexel. This would become the legitimate headquarters for the El Rukn, and the religious transformation of the Black Peace Stones was presented to the public as a positive change for the group. However, local authorities thought otherwise, insisting that Jeff Fort's new religious organization was simply a front for a large drug dealing operation that would operate throughout Chicago through the 70s and 80s. And during this time, Jeff Fort organized yet another alliance of gangs in the city and prisons known as the People Nation, bringing the likes of the former Black Peace Stones, the Latin Kings, Mickey Cobras, Vice Lords, and other gangs all together under the banner of the People Nation. I mean, despite the negativity that he brought to his community, you do really have to admire the vision that Jeff Fort had to try and bring this many people together in his community. And perhaps people were truly right when they said he had a lot of potential in real politics. But the reality was, Jeff Fort was playing with fire, and eventually the authorities would crack down on his operation. A 1983 drug bust, in connection to a large shipment of drugs in Mississippi, earned Jeff Fort a 13-year sentence for narcotics trafficking. But from here, even in prison, it would appear as if Jeff Fort kept a tight grip on the large organization of gangs that he had built up in the streets of Chicago. And this meant that even behind bars, bloodshed would continue to play out on Chicago's streets.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I would have gave it up. Like, if I get locked up, bro, I'm not finna keep on trying to do it while I'm in jail, because obviously, bro, I feel like, bro, everything that's happening in jail is being monitored, bro. Especially if you're using technology. Now, of course, if you get you like a little phone or whatever, yeah, you might get away with it a little bit longer, but they're gonna be able to find all that stuff out too. But if you got a long time up in there, I understand you just like, what's more time to a person that already got a whole bunch of time?
For example, in September 1988, the original founder of the Blackstone Nations, Eugene Bull Hairston, would be killed execution style, with authorities certain that it was Jeff Fort that had handed down the orders from prison. But even more shocking than the allegations of drug trafficking and murder for hire were earlier accusations leveled at Jeff Fort relating to terrorism and linking him to Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. Apparently, over the course of several phone calls made to his troops from jail, Jeff Fort instructed members of his organization to meet officials from Libya in what was originally proposed as a pilgrimage to Mecca and the Middle East, was later exposed as an attempt to make a multi-million-dollar deal with Middle Eastern terrorists, as apparently Jeff Fort had directed El Rukn members to meet with Libyans in Panama City and brokering a deal to receive $2.5 million and a large cache of high-powered weaponry in exchange for a commitment to wage war on the local authorities in the United States in what was described as Operation Ruck Bomb.
Oh yeah, we don't condone any of that. But it's like, it do seem like anytime Birdie try to, well, in their eyes, they say he acting. But anytime they say he doing something good, it's always some bad to the good that he do. But it's like, even if he is actually doing that stuff, in these type of times, bro, you know, Caucasian people wasn't really the nicest to us, and you feel me? So we just assume like, oh yeah, they just trying to get over on us. They trying to, you know, trying to tear down another black man and put all these false allegations up on them just because, you feel me, we just already got that kind of relationship going on where we just assume that they just trying to tear us down anyway. And back then, that was actually the truth though, you feel me?
The court was later told that Jeff Fort's religion organization / gang had made an agreement with a foreign government to commit terrorist acts in the United States on their behalf in exchange for a $2.5 million bag. Honestly, this is one of the most outrageous and shocking accusations that has ever been leveled at a gang leader in the United States history. Fort would be found guilty of these accusations and ultimately given a hefty 80-year prison sentence. Jeff Fort is still alive to this day, serving out that sentence at the ADX Florence Supermax prison, one of America's America's most secure and brutal prison facilities. Jeff Fort's family still fight for his release to this day, but just considering the insane amount of danger and terror he was able to inflict on the Chicago community, and considering what he and his organization were attempting to do in cooperation with a foreign government, it's very hard to believe that his release will be coming anytime soon.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you. The whole thing that really, I mean, Hoover, he locked up too. So it's like, man, even if he wasn't doing that type of stuff, I feel like when it comes to these type of situations, bro, they don't want people that got that much power. When you got too much power and control over people, they don't want you to be free. You feel me? I feel like either way, even if he didn't do that, they was going to find a way to, you feel me, get them locked up because they had too much control. And when you got control over the situation, that scared them. I ain't going to lie to you.
The history of Jeff Fort and the Black Peace Stones continue to cast a dark shadow over Chicago communities to this day, as the next generation of children of Peace Stone and affiliated gang members would move around Chicago and grow up. The identity of the Black Peace Stones would be passed around, splintered and distorted, with numerous small organizations breaking off, but retaining the Peace Stone identity and remaining active in the streets and prisons of Chicago and America beyond. But eventually, a renegade set descending from the original Peace Stones would emerge, based in Chicago's east side. This group would eventually go by the name No Limit, with the name apparently signaling a heritage handed down from the Black Peace Stones, but with no interest in following the rules or limits imposed by some of the more militant forefathers of the gang back in the day when it was a religious or political movement.
They are renegades. He basically said they are renegades, bro. They don't follow literature. They are stones that will get into it with stones. And you see, since stones are under the 5, they're not supposed to be cool with people that's under the 6. But renegade stones, they will be cool with people under the 6. For example, Muskegon boys are GD. You feel me? Stones and GDs is not supposed to be cool technically because Stones is under the 5, GD is under the 6. But when you renegade, none of that stuff don't matter. You're going to be cool with anyone you want to be cool with. And you're going to beef with whoever you want to beef with. But that's renegades and Insanes is different from each other. Some people think renegades is the same as Insanes, but they're a little bit different.
The young orphans of Jeff Fort's fallen organization would grow up and cultivate their own identities and feuds, which would get very deadly indeed. Violence would continue to play out all over Chicago, particularly one small area of territory in the east, which would eventually become so dangerous that it would earn itself the nickname Terror Town.
Scary.
Today's story is most concerned with a 4-block by 4-block rectangle of territory bounded by Yates and Colfax Avenues between 75th and 79th Street. If you type Terrortown into YouTube, you'll see numerous drive-thrus and drone shots depicting the rundown blocks of the area, which looks to be near abandoned by city authorities.
Bro, it's lots of apartments and it don't look abandoned. Gary look abandoned. Over east don't really look abandoned. I ain't gonna lie. Out west look more worse than over east, in my opinion.
And residents say that in these areas, murder is a common occurrence. In the 90s, after the incarceration of Jeff Fort, his son Antonio was one of many descendants of the original Peace Stones who fought for control of this area, with the battles taking place on the streets there apparently being so deadly and terrifying that the area would eventually become known as Terrortown. And naturally, with the infamy of his famous father, it wouldn't take long for Antonio Fort to find himself a target. In 1992, Antonio Fort would be jailed for conspiracy to purchase half a kilo of cocaine. And after his release, power struggles would continue in the area. Events would unfold unfortunately for Antonio, and on the 28th of March 1997, Antonio's bullet-riddled body would be dragged out of Wolf Lake. And in the decade that followed, petty violence would play out as more and more gangsters vied for control of the streets of Terrortown. And if the rival gangs didn't get you, the police certainly would. As the years went by, slowly descendants of Jeff Fort would be taken off the street one by one, facing arrest after arrest, with his other son Wakita picked up for drug charges by the police in 1996, with reports around this time explaining that since Jeff Fort's lengthy incarceration in a supermax facility, the religious focus of the El Ruckin that he had started had fallen away, with his remaining descendants reclaiming the Black Peace Stone identity and going to war with other famous Chicago gangs like the Gangster Disciples over control of the area. During these years, a nephew of Jeff Fort named Eric Gothero earned himself the nickname the Prince of Terrortown, apparently establishing a huge open-air drug operation at 79th and Essex known as the Pow Wow Line, a scene which I imagine wasn't dissimilar to the fictional open-air drug market Amsterdam depicted in HBO's The Wire. But eventually, this $15,000 a day drug operation would indeed be taken down too in what the police described as Operation Terrortown 2. Jeff Fort's nephew would be busted along with 18 other people in a raid that discovered an enormous shrine to Jeff Fort himself, along with 13 cars, 10 guns, 125 grams of cocaine, and a whopping 900 grams of heroin. And as a result, the gangs on the streets of Terrortown in the 2010s would be left without leadership, becoming a much more fractured collection of renegade Peace Stone gang sets, slowly losing their connection to Jeff Fort, the Blackstone Rangers, or the heritage of politically motivated gangs that had once controlled the area. Teenage gangbangers would grow up, knowing they descended from Peace Stones, but establishing new rules, new territories, and new disputes, with the young teenagers in the area giving very little thought to the religious, political, or social movements that Jeff Fort had at least tried to pioneer through the 60s, 70s, and 80s. But more interesting than that to me was that in the streets and blocks of Terrortown were the next generation of young men growing up close to the cycle of violence and gang warfare that their elders had endured, with some taking part in the war, killing and being killed as part of a new generation of conflict in the streets of Terrortown, while others would take the scenes that they had experienced and witnessed and channeling those experiences into music, making hit songs about the lifestyle that they grew up around, becoming successful musical artists and getting a...
But just because nowadays all that being under the 5, under the 6 stuff, that don't really matter no more. But yeah, Cobras, they under the 5, they under the fin. So technically, yeah, they cool. They both under the 5.
Once-in-a-lifetime shot to escape the cycle of violence and get out of the city with their lives intact. Despite 75th to 79th Streets being so dangerous and gang-infested that it's literally nicknamed Terrortown.
That's the school my little brother and them went to. I went to a different elementary school. I went to Arnold Morales over by 90th and Commercial. It's still around this area, but it's like 10 minutes away.
The area, particularly 79th Street, has spawned some of the biggest Chicago rappers who avoided gangs. You may be surprised to find out that one of the most successful musicians and entrepreneurs of our generation, Kanye West, grew up in a childhood home only minutes away from Terrortown. And despite...
Well, Kanye grew up down the street from me then. 78th?
Kanye West grew up in a childhood home only
78th and South Shore. On gang. I lived on 76th and South Shore.
Minutes away from Terrortown. And despite later in his career claiming to be affiliated with the Gangster Disciples, Kanye actually had early lyrics where he discussed encountering black Peace Stones in the neighborhood and having to go by a nickname so they would leave him alone. And Kanye would even bring rap legend Jay-Z back to the area many years later. But when it comes to the most famous name in the rap game associated with the No Limit gang in Terrortown, we're of course talking about G Herbo, formerly known as Lil Herb. Herbo would meet fellow No Limit drill legend Lil Bibby at a local youth center after school. Together, Herbo and Bibby would spark a friendship, eventually becoming collaborators and putting their block on the map as far as drill music is concerned. Lil Bibby made big moves in the music industry through both the booth and the boardroom, eventually partnering up with his brother G Money and starting the record label Grade A Productions, playing a big role in bringing top-tier talent like Juice WRLD and the Kid Laroi to the forefront of music. But away from the music and back to the streets, another famous name you might associate with No Limit is Cairo, an outspoken affiliate who will play a major part in the beef as this story develops. And another name from the streets that you might know from the music is Mad Max, aka C Money or Killer Chris. He's possibly the most active killer in the street side of this story, becoming infamous in both the streets and on the internet for allegedly being a fearless shooter who claimed the lives of numerous enemies. Now, as far as the streets goes, there were allegedly 2 main leaders of No Limit back in the early days. Rumored to be a direct relative of Blackstone Rangers founder Eugene Bull Hairston, G Bull was from 78th Street, one of 2 commanding members of No Limit, who apparently played a role in mentoring the likes of Lil Bibby, White Sean and G Money, with another gang leader by the name of G Gill, hailing from 79th Street, commanding another set of the younger generation of No Limit, mentoring the likes of G Mainsky, G Herbo, Jock, and Mad Max himself, who would post publicly on Instagram of G Mainsky, G Herbo.
Bro is talking about this like this is like Naruto and Sasuke, Indira and Ashura type stuff going on. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Jock, and Mad Max himself, who would post publicly on Instagram about coming up under G Gill. Other important names associated with the No Limit movement who you might hear mentioned in this story include Faro, Lil Wet aka Wet 'em Up, and Crazy James. There's quite literally dozens of people who claim No Limit publicly, with some estimates of its membership online suggesting that the gang is 200 people strong. It would be difficult to identify and name every member here, and that's really not something I'm trying to do right now. But that's a selection of some of the most important names who you'll be hearing about over the course of this story. The fact that No Limit is such a large gang is perhaps the reason that the crew was able to survive such a long war with so many enemies. As in this story, there are 3 distinct feuds going on between No Limit and their allies and their enemies in different parts of the city. The 3 groups that No Limit and their allies are feuding with specifically include the Lakeside Gangster Disciples, some of whom go by KTS or Kill to Survive, Pocket Town, another group of gangster disciples, and Black Mob, a group descending from the original Black Peace Stones in the area. So let's start by taking a closer look at the Lakeside GDs, some of whom go by the terrifying nickname KTS or Kill to Survive.
Lie to you, bro. I don't think none of them, like, none of they rappers is rapping anymore. Like, no one talk about these guys at all. Like, of course, I'm pretty sure they still got members that's out there that still claim that. But rap-wise, that's over with for them.
Lakeside are arguably No Limit's biggest opposition. They're a crew made up of gangster disciples and vice lords in a particular area of Terrortown. South of Terrortown is No Limit territory, with an overlapping area in the southeast known as Lakeside, hence the intense rivalry between these two groups. In fact, the nearby McDonald's, located on 2425 East 79th Street, has been the scene of much bloodshed and drama in this feud, but we'll get to that later. Some from this area and the nearby Pocket Town go by the nickname KTS or Kill to Survive, sometimes referred to as Cutthroat. The terrifying implications of those nicknames alone should be enough to give you an idea of just how deadly this feud can get. In fact, some KTS members even sport a large shoot to kill crosshair tattoo on their necks, a terrifying prospect which likely inspired fear into pretty much anyone these guys encountered, gang member or not. In fact, KTS members had local residents so terrified that there's examples from back in 2010 with locals posting lists of gang members to avoid on Facebook and telling others that their area is under attack. Associated with this group, you've got the likes of KTS Dre and KTS Von, both feared hitters due to their family's gang ties, with their father Vinny apparently having a deep history of involvement in the local gangs. Vinny was apparently an OG gang member from the area who had clearly taught his sons the ways of the street from early. But in addition to being shooters, the likes of Von and Dre were also prolific posters on social media, being seen in numerous clips online, driving through rival territories armed and looking for a response. Another significant Lakeside member who will be important later in this story is Posto, a local member who would sadly lose.
How you say his name wrong and Herb used to diss him? That's how I know he don't listen to Herb for real. Because anyone who listen to Lil Herb know it's Posto. He used to say that, like, bro, like had King Von diss Tuka, that Posto, that's Posto for G Herbo. I ain't gonna lie to you, back in the day, but he don't do that no more. But back in the day, you couldn't even listen to a Herb song without hearing Posto somewhere in the song.
His life, with this incident representing yet another significant escalation in the war between these two areas. But before we get to that, there's actually another Lakeside member whose killing would represent one of the early triggers of this deadly war. That young man's name is Nutso, who was killed by another group close to No Limit in 2008. That group's name is the Muskegon Boys.
Muskegon Boys. Muskegon?
The Muskegon Boys are a set of gangster disciples from Terrortown. Originally going by the Muskegon Block Gangsters, they hail from 78th and Muskegon Avenue, just off of Exchange. This set was apparently pioneered by two locals, going by the street names of Doski and Whitebread. In the past, they may have been considered closer to the fellow gangster disciples in Lakeside, but events would unfold, driving these two GD sets apart and the Muskegon Boys and No Limit much closer together, with the alliance between these two crews famously being NLMB or the No Limit Muskegon Boys, sometimes referred.
And that's what make them renegades right there. You see how they end up getting cool with GDs? That's what renegades do, because Stone's not supposed to be cool with people that's under the 6.
To with the backronym Never Leave My Brothers. Many of the younger members of No Limit and the Muskegon Boys would form close friendships, with several individuals playing a significant role as part of this story. People like Zale, Rock, Kobe, and Fazo. As mentioned previously, the Muskegon Boys and Lakeside had formerly been on good terms.
So this how I be sounding when I be pronouncing y'all stuff wrong in the UK. It do sound funny. I ain't gonna lie. You saying it wrong every time.
Due to their shared GD heritage. But that would all change around 2008, when younger members of the Muskegon boys would get their hands on firearms, ultimately leading to deadly outcomes between the crews. Eventually, a beloved member from Lakeside by the name of Nutso would be shot and killed. Nutso, real name Larry Pickens, was murdered on his porch at 7815 South.
That AC in the window, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I always grew up around AC in the windows, and I just associate ACs in the windows with being a bad area. Over east got lots of houses like this. When I lived up on Buffalo, I lived on a little duplex.
Marquette Avenue in June 2008. This represented an early escalation between the Muskegon boys and Lakeside, with the Muskegon boys eventually forming that NLMB alliance with No Limit. But from here, things would get much more complicated. As I mentioned earlier, No Limit would be battling two other gang sets, in addition to their war with Lakeside. Playing a small part of this is a historical overlap between some members of Lakeside and Pocket Town. And to understand this, we've got to take a closer look at Pocket Town, another gang set who would battle No Limit fiercely for control of the streets of Chicago. Pocket Town is yet another gang with its heritage from the Black Pea Stones. This can be seen in graffiti all over the area depicting the 5-point star depicted in early Black Pea Stone folklore. This area apparently earned the name Pocket Town due to its triangular shape and is based towards the Greater Grand Crossing area, a short drive west of Terrortown.
Bro, Jackson Park Hospital is a horrible hospital. And I never been to this hospital. I was just always told that this is a horrible hospital. But looking at the hospital, I could see why people didn't say it was a bad hospital.
Nearby Circon City is another older gang set with loose connections to No Limit. Gangs have been active in Pocket Town as far back as the 1980s. In fact, there's one kingpin from the area named Nate Hill, who became one of America's biggest drug traffickers, apparently forging close ties with the Black Pea Stones before eventually being taken down in a big bust. Now, according to comments on Reddit, the gangster disciples in Pocket Town in the 90s were somewhat organized, but fractures in the group throughout the 2000s would see individuals branching off, forming new alliances, and breaking free of the past as new feuds emerged between members from varying sets. For example, you've got the likes of Rio, hailing from Pocket Town, but also affiliated with KTS. One individual who played a role in early feuds related to Pocket Town goes by the name of Lil Pez, or Paris. He was murdered just age 16 in Grand Crossing in March 2008, being found with a gunshot wound to the head on the sidewalk of the 1300 block of East 72nd Street around 11 p.m. His sister would tell the news that she'd feared her brother had fallen in with local gangs, with it being believed that Lil Pez had formed links with gang members in both Lakeside and Pocket Town, with it being believed that his killing marked a significant escalation in tension in the area. So by 2008, we have the likes of the Muskegon Boys and No Limit warring with the Lakeside GDs, or KTS, as well as former Pea Stones based in Pocket Town. But there's just one more piece to this complicated puzzle, because there's yet one more significant group famous for being constantly at war with No Limit, a set of gangsters based in the north of Terrortown, descending from the original Black Pea Stones, who go by the name of Black Mob.
That boy Shooter Seals, he made one of the most disrespectful No Limit diss songs ever. Like, I ain't gonna lie. He would go, I still think no one never made a more diabolical diss about No Limit than Shooter Seals. I ain't gonna lie to you. We don't condone anything in this educational documentary.
In the north of Terrortown, there's a territory controlled by a group called Black Mob, based on 74th to 75th and Phillips, only a few blocks north of 79th where No Limit call home. One of the most famous and feared names from Black Mob is Shooter Shells. Much like Mad Max, Shooter Shells had allegedly played a role in numerous killings as part of this feud, apparently cultivating a fearsome reputation in the streets. But we'll learn more about him later in the story. Black Mob is a set branching off from the original Pea Stones, descending from Jeff Fort, who claimed Terrortown since the early 90s. It's said that over the years following the large busts on the original Pea Stone leadership that descended from Jeff Fort, Black Mob in the north would continue on the Pea Stone legacy, controlling the drug trade in the area. But as renegade Pea Stone sets like No Limit formed, for a period these newer sets would be expected to pay a tax to the original generation of Black Pea Stones, Black Mob in the north. Essentially, if these new younger No Limit gangsters wanted to sell drugs in Terrortown, they would have to pay the OGs from Black Mob. And as you can probably imagine, that is where tension started. It's said
Yeah, I ain't gonna bab to you. I wouldn't be going for that either. I ain't gonna bab to you. I would have most definitely been like, oh yeah, well, I guess we just got a beef with you because you think I'm finna risk my freedom to give you the money I earned while risking my freedom, bro? Like, no, bro, that's not how it works, bro. I'm not finna give you my hard-earned money, bro. No.
Said that at some point in the 90s, former leader of No Limit, G Bull, was killed, though there's very little information online about that particular incident. But what we do know is that into the noughties, a new leadership figure for the No Limit troops emerged, a man known as Hellrail, aka G-Rail, or Rugotti, not to be confused with another Hellrail from Lakeside, who we'll discuss later in this story. Up until this point, Black Mob and No Limit had been historically friendly, but soon a turf war would break out between these two factions. A No Limit member by the name of Vito had allegedly been selling drugs in Black Mob turf. He was ultimately attacked for not paying tax or showing respect to the elder peace stones controlling that area. Retaliation from No Limit would soon follow, and story has it that Vito would attempt to shoot up an enemy from Black Mob, unsuccessfully attempting to kill them with their family present. And this reckless act of
I ain't gonna lie, that's that goofy stuff. We cannot condone no activities like that, bro. If you see innocent people around in that area, bro, you gotta give them a pass, bro, because it's like you wouldn't want no one hit your innocent kid, your mama, none of that. You feel me? So just at least have that mutual respect that no one ain't gonna do nothing around, you know, people, family, and all that, bro, because no people, family should get involved because the street stuff y'all got going on.
Disrespect would apparently spark the bitter war between Black Mob and No Limit. Eventually, on the 27th of April 2009, Vito, real name Davis Johnson, would be murdered in the street in Terrortown. After apparently being confronted on the street about the disrespect, Vito was allegedly shot 5 times in front of a large crowd. Police were called to the scene of the shooting at around 1:20 in the morning, attending the 7800 block of South Essex, where they found Vito with gunshot wounds in his chest just a few blocks from his home, and he would sadly be pronounced dead by 2:18 AM. Vito's killer went by the name of Boo from Black Mob. Real name Trinity Walton, he was charged with the killing of Vito, ultimately getting 60 years in prison. The loss of Vito hit No Limit members hard, and surviving members would regularly bring him up in conversation and in songs. G Herbo would rap on his computer's freestyle that he drops the 5 for Vito, a reference to doing a downward 5-finger hand sign as a mark of disrespect to the 5-point star that represents the early Black Peace Stone movement which Black Mob descended from. Dropping the 5s is essentially a Peace Stone killer hand sign. Showing respect for their fallen brother Vito would echo through everything the No Limit members did and said for years to come. Even many years later, when Lil Bibby signed Juice WRLD, he became so indoctrinated into the gang's way of talking, he'd regularly be seen on camera swearing on Vito's life in regular conversation.
On Vito, this nigga good. On Vito, this nigga getting paid.
The killing of Vito.
You see that, like, that type of stuff right there, bro. It's like that stuff is on me because it's like, why is you merching it on they homies, bro? Like, you don't know Vito. You never knew Vito. And I know you cool with the people that knew Vito, but that's just like pretty diabolical. And I mess with Juice WRLD, but you know, I can't sit here and be no hypocrite now. When people doing goofy stuff, we gotta call it out. You feel me? And that one of those things that we just had to say. You feel me?
Vito caused No Limit members to identify as BMK or Black Mob killers. And considering the separate beef going on with the gangster disciples from Lakeside, many No Limit members would also identify with the GDK or GD killer movement. In addition to dropping the 5, many would be seen in pictures doing the upside down pitchfork hand sign commonly associated with the GDK movement. And once again, upon signing to Lil Bibby, you might catch pop singer Juice WRLD throwing up GDK in numerous pictures too. And since this meant that No Limit members were beefing both Black Peace Stones and gangster disciples at the same time, many from No Limit would identify as EBK or Everybody Killers. Sadly, however, the murder of Vito was just the beginning of a long and bloody war between these groups. And in the decade plus that would follow, countless men from every corner and pocket of Terrortown would lose their lives to gun violence. And while not every killing in this story would be associated with these specific feuds, the sad truth is the young members growing up in Terrortown would be forced to witness death and destruction throughout their most formative years, no doubt having an incredibly detrimental effect on their mindsets and prospects for the future. The next tragedy would strike on July 2nd, 2009, when senior NLMB member James Robinson, aka J-Mo or Prince Chico, would be shot and killed around 10 PM near the 79th Street of Yates Avenue. He was found by police on the street with a bullet in his head. Prince Chico would be another of the names that would be sorely missed by the young members of No Limit. Just like Vito, G Herbo would go on to memorialize Chico in several of his songs, like the track East Side Story, where he would reminisce growing up around Vito, Hellrel, and Chico in the neighborhood. Fortunately, Herbo was one of the examples of a Terrortown native who was able to take what he witnessed in the streets and turn it into art. Sadly, many others wouldn't be so lucky. And to make matters worse, it wouldn't only be the ops that young men in Terrortown would have to fear, as many of the young teenagers in the area, forced to carry weapons to defend themselves from potential rivals, hell-bent on shooting at them and taking their lives, as a result would unfortunately also face the prospect of the police shooting at them too. In April 2010, Zale, a beloved member of the Muskegon Boys, will become the latest young man in Terrortown to lose their life to gun violence. But in this case, instead of being shot by the ops, Zale would lose his life after a dramatic shootout with Chicago police. He was allegedly stopped by the cops at 10:30 p.m, jumping out of the car and apparently opening fire.
I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. There's no way you gonna win that situation. Even if you get away with unaliving them, you ain't gonna be able to beat the whole police force. So it's like, if they don't unalive you in that shootout, you most definitely gonna go to jail for a very long time if they don't unalive you. You feel me? There's no way you gonna win getting into it with the police. We do not condone anything aside this educational documentary.
The police would return fire, striking Zale, real name Isael Jackson, eventually taking him into custody and taking his weapon, but sadly his injuries would be too much, and he'd be pronounced dead at 1:45 a.m. After this incident, some from No Limit would say that they were CPDK, a trend that surely would worry the police at the time. But sadly, the loss of Zale would be followed by the murder of another beloved member from the Muskegon Boys, as on April the 12th, 2010, 19-year-old Faison Robinson, known as G Fazo to his friends, was participating in a dice game at the 2900 block of East 79th.
Bro, man, I never got into dice because it's like the whole thing behind dice. I saw like my pops here shoot dice, and then my brothers and sisters they'd shoot dice, and I see people be fighting over that. It be getting serious over that, and I'm like, I never understood as a kid, like, why is these grown men taking these little dice so serious? Like, I just see them outside shooting dice. I'm like, bro, why is they screaming over these little dice things, bro? I used to I'd be like, yeah, I ain't with none of that stuff, bro. They over there tripping.
Street. At some point, apparently things went left, with gunshots being heard and the police responding to reports of a shooting. Once they arrived on the scene, they would find Fazo shot in the back, taking him to South Shore Hospital, where he would sadly be pronounced dead. Fazo would be sorely missed by his friends in the No Limit Muskegon Boys, with the likes of G Herbo pronounced dead. Fazo would be sorely
That's the Red Dead UK stomper. Oh my God. We don't condone anything that's happening in this video, especially that right there. But back in the day, we could say, you know, that was kind of common. You know, they wasn't really having all that type of stuff back in the day.
Missed by his friends in the No Limit Muskegon Boys, with the likes of G Herbo going on to shout out Fazo countless times in his songs. He would also name his popular 2014 debut mixtape Welcome to Fazo Land, as well as popularizing a trend of referring to white Nike Air Forces as G Fazos in his honor. This is something that future pop sensation Juice WRLD would do in some of his songs, with this apparently coming from the fact that Fazo himself was a huge fan of the popular Nike sneaker silhouette. No arrests were made following G Fazo's killing, but many believe that the killing was the result of the ongoing beef with Lakeside. Following his passing, images of G Fazo would circulate with the caption Lakeside Killer, suggesting that perhaps before his death he had indeed played a role in violence against Lakeside, possibly attracting retaliation. However, others that are closer to Fazo would suggest that his death at the dice game was nothing to do with the ongoing feud, but regardless of who was responsible, it's believed that Faison was a top member.
Yeah, dice, literally, you could get unalived just because that situation itself, like over that game. It don't gotta be like no beef, no nothing. That's why I didn't want to never get involved with it, because it's like, bro, you in real life lose your life over dice. We don't condone that.
member of the Muskegon boys, leading to their enemies in Lakeside taking advantage of this loss and beginning to target Fazo's friends and family. Exactly a year after Fazo's death, a memorial barbecue in celebration of his life was held at 79th and Escanaba Avenue. Here, Fazo's family and friends would be gathered on the block when a car pulled up, slowing down, rolling down the window, and someone inside opening fire. 4 grown men and a 10-year-old boy would be hit, but fortunately no deaths were recorded.
Nah, we got to slap that goofy badge. We got to give them a goofy badge because, bro, you hearing it, bro? I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I don't even be wishing jail on nobody, but if you one of those people that, you know, hit an innocent kid, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. You gotta go to jail or something gotta happen, bro. It gotta be consequences for your actions, bro. You just can't go all scot-free after you hit an innocent kid, you feel me? We don't condone that.
Sadly, this was just another example of how ruthless the shooters in this story were willing to get. And from here, naturally, things would continue to escalate and blood would continue to spill between these two warring groups. Violence between the No Limit Muskegon boys and their enemies continued in Terrortown throughout 2011. On June the 3rd, Boss Blizz, real name Randall Cummings, an older figure in the No Limit community, and allegedly the father of Faro from
Cummings. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you, that's like low-key. Like, I know that's just his real name, but that's a crazy real name.
No Limit, who would have only been 7 years old at the time, would be shot multiple times, being found lying dead at 6801 South Crandon Avenue. Witnesses say that after an argument, a silver car fled the scene, with this happening just down the road from a police station, with the police themselves even hearing the gunshots. Now, popular Chicago drill documentary channel Chicago Scene 88 has suggested that the alleged shooter in this crime was KTS Rio from Pockettown, and if Chicago Scene 88's research is to be believed, No Limit would hold a near decade-long grudge against Rio for this incident. But sadly, only days after that incident, another of No Limit's enemies would end up losing their life. Hakeem Graham, a 20-year-old with suspected ties to Black Mob, was shot multiple times and killed on June the 6th, 2011. And then another suspected affiliate of Black Mob was gunned down on November the 1st, 2011 at 7:45 in the morning at the bus stop at
I never bro, I swear to God, bro. If I had the opportunity to not take the bus, I'd just walk. Like, I don't care about taking a longer walk. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't care about none of that stuff. Why I don't care about a longer walk? I don't care about a longer walk just because if you get caught lacking, bro, a bus stop is just an easy way to get caught lacking. Even if you don't got no ops, it's just like it's a whole compact area. So it's like it's multiple people waiting at the bus stop. You know people don't got no aim for real. So it's like they trying to hit the person next to you, but since the bus stop is everybody so close together, you know, you might end up getting hit in the process, and you know how it go. Like in school, you in tour with someone, they catch you up on that bus. That's gonna be the worst jump you gonna get. I feel like the bus jumpings be like the worst. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's another reason why I didn't like to take the bus, because it's like, bro, I don't want no one to jump me on the bus, bro. Because you know, in school, you know, people don't fight no more. But when you was in school, in high school, you know, people was fighting. And you know, in Chicago, it ain't no school buses. Like, if you inside the hood, it ain't no school buses. You gotta take the CTA bus. They give you, the school literally give you a CTA pass or whatever, and you gotta take the bus. I just walk home because I'm not taking no bus, bro. They got me cooked.
the 2400 block of East 75th Street, 18-year-old Rayvon Martin was shot in the back of the head, execution style, as a bus approached. 2011 was a bloody year in Terrortown, but things would only escalate further in 2012, when one of the most bloody incidents in this story took place on the streets of Chicago. On February the 19th, 2012, just before 7 p.m, Lakeside members had driven through No Limit territory looking for their ops. At this point, they apparently spotted a large group of No Limit members standing outside of a liquor store on the 2500 block of East 79th Street, at the intersection with Essex Avenue. A shooter in a beige vehicle allegedly leaned out the car, opening fire at the group with an automatic weapon with an extended clip. 5 people were injured in the shooting but survived, including a 14-year-old, but 2 people would sadly lose their lives shooting but survived.
I ain't gonna lie to you now. That's that goofy stuff. That's the thing that be blowing me about this stuff, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. Y'all sliding on y'all ops and stuff, I'll be like, okay, y'all grown, legal adults decide to make y'all decisions to beef with y'all ops. But kids, bro, like, bro, y'all got to get locked up or something. He got sent to Commerce. I actually went to Commerce Hospital. That's a children's hospital. I actually went to Commerce until I turned 18.
Including a 14-year-old, but 2 people would sadly lose their lives at the scene. A 53-year-old by the name of Gregory Glindsey, also known as Alamo, and a 19-year-old by the name of Jamal Harris, also known as Rock. Despite causing numerous injuries, the KTS shooters from Lakeside didn't break the spirits of the No Limit soldiers. Going forward, they would openly honor their fallen friend Rock, beginning to refer to their territory in Terrortown as Rock Block. Rock is actually the reason that you'll hear the likes of G Herbo and others frequently referring to where they're from as Rock Block, and Herbo himself would go on to honor Rock in many songs. KTS Von, heavily rumored to have been involved with the shooting, would mock Rock's death on Instagram, posting an image of Rock's headstone with a gun and pow emoji. Others affiliated with KTS would later take to social media to mock No Limit's losses and bait them to retaliate. But sadly, the violence was still just escalating from here. 6 months later, on August the 23rd, 2012, another mass shooting targeting No Limit members would leave another 8 people injured, with this incident taking place on the 7800 block of South Essex Avenue, only a block away from the previous mass shooting that claimed the lives of Rock and Alamo. According to police, 2 people opened fire from a moving car around 9:15 p.m. 8 people would be shot in this drive-by, with the news reporting victims from ages 14 to 28. A 28-year-old man was shot in the knee, a 16-year-old boy shot in the foot, another 16-year-old boy shot in the leg, a 20-year-old man shot in the leg, a 14-year-old shot in the arm, a 15-year-old shot in the neck, and a 19-year-old woman shot in the arm. The day
Okay, now I know some people be a certain age when they start gangbanging. I don't know what street ties they had, but if all these people was just innocent people that didn't have no street ties at all, bro, you got to give them the chair. You got to give them the chair. If these people don't got nothing to do with the streets at all, bro, you got to give if you catch whoever did this, you got to give them the chair. Like this just outrageous. We don't condone anything inside this documentary.
After this shooting, Cairo from No Limit would tweet, telling the world that he was in pain. G Herbo was also one of the individuals targeted in these incidents, with Herb later opening up in interviews about being in the shooting that hit 8 people, including his 13-year-old cousin.
It was kind of big. It was like 8 of us got shot. Me, my younger cousin. My cousin was like 13.
Apparently at one point Herbo himself was shot in the foot, and apparently at one point a bullet passed through his hat, narrowly missing his head.
I got hit actually in the foot, like it was minor. The bullet went like through my hat, like I had my head on like on some Swiss Beats type shit. A lot of leg shots and stuff like that.
After the shooting, G Herbo and G Pharaoh would go back and forth on Twitter arguing over who had the worst lower body injury from the shootout, with Pharaoh himself claiming to have taken multiple bullets to the leg. Meanwhile, Ramo from No Limit would tweet telling his comrades from Rock Block to get well soon. This enormous wave of shootings shocked the Chicago community, with the Chicago Sun-Times posting a provocative cover story with an enormous headline reading Terrortown and a picture from the scene of the shooting of a body lying in the street. Others reporting on the incident referred to a war between 2 factions of the Black Peace Stones, perhaps a reference to No Limit and Black Mob. And to make the story even more crazy, after that second shooting, according to police, a dozen squad cars were sent to a nearby motel where a car riddled with bullets and covered in blood was spotted after the shooting. An apparent trail of blood leading from the car into one of the rooms would end with a dramatic SWAT team raid that, unfortunately for the police, led to nobody being found and the cops ultimately being unable to determine whether the blood belonged to a shooter or a victim that had fled the scene. As a result, in an effort to disrespect No Limit going forward, KTS Von would begin referring to them as No Limbs. And naturally, in retaliation to both shootings and the ongoing disrespect from the ops, No Limit members would hit the streets looking for revenge. In the days following the incident, G Herbo had tweeted about following the shooter, then going on to tweet that he had just got off the phone with his own shooter, telling them that he needs to see something on the news.
You see, and this is what I mean, bro. And these Chicago rappers, they get mad at Trap Reezy for making these documentary videos that I could get paid for sitting down watching. So you get mad at this guy for doing all this deep diving onto y'all internet antics. It's like, bro, there's no reason why in 2012 he should be able to pull it up what you talking about, and it's against the law. So if someone able to pull up you talking about stuff that's against the law in 2012, bro, you cannot be mad at anyone for making that video. You need to be mad at your 2012 self. That's who you need to be mad at. We don't condone anything in this video.
And then 2 days later, on August the 27th, Herbo would tweet saying that 3 people got shot on the 5, referring to black mob territory where Herbo's auntie lived, as well as firing off another tweet saying that his hitters are still in the field for him. G Herbo clearly went through a lot during this time, and his life in the dangerous streets of Terrortown as a member of No Limit meant that he could be the target of an assassination at any moment. Most of the No Limit members couldn't really say that they were safe in the streets of Chicago, but that very same month of the second shooting, a couple of young men from No Limit made the decision to try something different, making some music about the lifestyle that they were experiencing at the time, with no idea just how big their music would eventually become.
East Side Legends. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Like, G Herbo, bro, it's like, if you from over East, bro, you gonna mess with G Herbo. I'm pretty sure, bro, I don't know any of Herb Ops, but I'm pretty sure Herb Ops even messed with Herb music. I ain't gonna lie to you, because it's like, bro, he the biggest thing to ever come out of the east side of Chicago. I mean, Kanye West, but Kanye West is a whole different type of ball game, you feel me?
Eventually attracting millions of fans and a potential route out of the dangerous blocks of Terrortown. G Herbo had started out rapping, just recording little 60-second songs on his flip phone, and this was something he had apparently been encouraged to do by his fellow No Limit homie Lil Bibby. Lil Bibby and G Herbo met in a youth group that they were forced to attend in order to keep out of trouble, and after sparking up a shared love of music, Bibby would later take G Herbo to a studio on 79th and Duella to record professional standard music, with this experience ultimately leading them to make many songs together. Lil Herb, as he was known then, and Lil Bibby would have their first Chicago drill hit on August the 5th, 2012, when they uploaded their song Kill Shit to YouTube. That song today has over 50 million views on YouTube and over 20 million streams on Spotify. Kill Shit was a breakthrough moment for No Limit in the rap game, and Herbo and Bibby would be putting their whole crew on the map. They had lyrics referencing the grimy life that they had lived in Terrortown. The track had Herbo rapping about how he knows people ready to do homicides. He raps that the
Bro, that song, anytime, bro, I ain't gonna lie to you, some songs we're gonna get you lit every time, bro. Like Young Pappy Killer, my G Herbo Kill Shit, stuff like that, that's always gonna get you turned up. Chief Keef, Finito, you feel me? Stuff like that, you feel me? That's just gonna automatically get you busted off the bat, you feel me? Even if you could be having a bad day, bro. You hear that? Man, who playing that? Who got that on?
Gang No Limit are 30 years running and 30 years gunning. He shout-outs 150, another name for the Rock Block, which would become a frequent quotable in Herbo's music. Bibby would show love to Rock on the track and vowing to shoot at his ops, claiming his affiliation to No Limit in numerous lyrics, and dropping bars where he claims that he will shoot their ops off.
It's crazy, bro. The stuff he's talking about. Pretty wild, bro. Pretty wild, but man, that boy do know how to rap.
Their porches. Bibby even goes as far as to say RIP the police, and saying that his team are cop killers, perhaps an earlier reference to No Limit members claiming to be CPDK after the death of Zale. These violent and grimy rap verses, combined with a banging 2012 era Chicago drill beat, cemented Kill Shit as a hit. One of the founding tracks of the Chicago drill movement, which up until that point in 2012 had been dominated by black disciple rappers like Chief Keef. The success of Kill Shit would bring a taste of legitimate passive income to the young members of the No Limit crew, with the rap game emerging as one of the first opportunities to break the cycle and see some success outside of the dangerous streets of Terrortown. Some would be able to get out that way, but others might not be able to take the same route. And so, in spite of positive signs in music, the remainder of 2012 would be incredibly rough for the No Limit Muskegon boys, as they would continue to be targeted by rivals, with one particular exchange of violence being captured on video and being immortalized forever as one of the most haunting moments in Chicago drill history.
McDonald's?
G Herbo and Lil Bibby weren't the only Terrortown natives to have a crack at making music, because over on Lakeside, KTS members had been making their own songs too, releasing early tracks to YouTube in October 2012, mainly rapping over Atlanta-style trap beats. KTS Von will release songs like Smoke, which featured lyrics dissing Gotti, a member from an unrelated rival gang to Lakeside, whom was allegedly the first person that KTS Von had killed, with his adlib and catchphrase "Don't Go Gotti" appearing frequently in his music and on the clothes of KTS members. And Von would end the song with the terrifying lyric, "Don't be surprised if the cutthroats kill ya." He had another big song drop in October of 2012 called "I'm Off Dat," where he rapped his Lakeside bro God that it's a man down in Terrortown, and that people need to move if they don't want to end up like Gotti.
It's a man down in Terrortown. If you don't wanna go, Gotti better move around.
He's got another line where he says he caught his ops lacking and now they know Gotti. He also has the track
I'm gonna be real though, like real deal, bro. Like that little verse that he played, that wasn't bad. But KTS Von was not a good rapper. He wasn't. And if you're gonna sit here and tell me that KTS Von is a good rapper, you probably is his homie. Because I don't think no one that's not his homie gonna say that he had like very good music. I feel like KTS Von was one of those people that, you know, just benefited off Chicago drill just booming at the time. So, you know, anyone that's rapping from the hood that's actually in the streets gonna get views and attention, even if it's not the best. You feel me? Same with New York. That happened with New York when the New York drill got on. Lots of people was just getting views because the New York drill was relevant and they was just, you know, a part of it. You feel me? But they wasn't like, you know, best. They was like kind of like add-ons to the stuff. Like, you know, a King Yella. He said he was a part of Chicago drill, but bro, everybody know King Yella was only getting views because Chicago drill was just relevant at the time and they just trying to listen to everybody's Chicago drill.
Sneak Snitching, where he ironically kinda sneak snitches on himself, opening the song with an extended intro from the show First 48, explaining how killers are most likely to be found in the first 48 hours of a case, with Von going on to rap that recently the detectives put him in a homicide suspect lineup because he caught his ops slipping and lined them up. He goes on to say quite literally that the cops say he pulled up and started shooting, seemingly in reference to the 2 big drive-by shootings committed against No Limit in 2012. He says his crew don't leave witnesses, and he raps that he leaves his ops on the news and makes them famous. But it wasn't just music being uploaded to YouTube by KTS members. They also begun dropping hood vlogs called On the Lake, showing the behind the scenes life on their block and attempting to show maximum disrespect to the ops.
Gotti block, my young niggas got a lot of ops to say fuck rock. We out here, man. Cut those, man. Pocket. You hear me? From the pocket to the ward to the lake, man. We out here, man. Doing shit in my Tory fit with the Mac out like who the heck? Don't be surprised if them cut those.
What is they talking about? It looked like too much unfathomable things is going on that we do not condone in this documentary.
Kill ya! The lake, the pocket, Sunnyfield. Don't go Gotti. Don't go Gotti. Don't go Rock. Don't go Face Off. Fuck Pop Stiff. Fuck y'all know, shorty.
This how you know this an old Trap Blue Raw video, because he wouldn't have showed this type of stuff inside his new videos. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I already peeped the scene, bro. I already knew what was going on.
Man down in Terrortown. It's a man down in Terrortown. Hey, fuck Face On. Fuck Lil Rock. Fuck all y'all dead homies. 2C killer. Fuck the niggas 2 times, man. Die 5 wild out, man. Fuck niggas, man. Fuck Rock. Fuck all of them.
Fuck it about. Fuck Ryder.
No, fuck Face On.
Fuck Face On.
Fuck him.
Fuck Chico. Fido. Fuck them all.
Hey, my nigga Mac Man and Pasto. Them 2 niggas y'all don't want to see together, man.
But it wasn't just hood vlogs going up on the KTS.
We don't, YouTube, we do not condone any of that. We do not condone anything inside that video at all.
YouTube channel, because KTS Dre and Von were also known to record themselves going into the ops hoods and pressuring local rivals. They would call these videos their No Lacking series, I assume a play on words against No Limit, recording several clips showing their followers that they were lurking on the No Limit block with their enemies nowhere to be found. They would continue to film passing cars, pondering whether there were ops inside them that were too scared to jump out.
Let me see what it say now. What the essence sign at, folks? This they blue.
You see,
Camera.
Police, they make asses. Definitely not our shit.
Definitely McDonald's right there. It's early. Who this is? 2-4? Let me see my shawty. Let me see. This 2-4.
Flexing on their ass, man. What's up, man?
Oh, say knife and asses. Niggas in trucks riding past. Look at them guys in that right truck. They see us. Oh, y'all know what it is, boy. He come out here, they ass ain't out here. It's dry as hell out here. Look at my shawties. Ooh, man.
Where them niggas at?
They was out here somewhere. Look at this shit. They write shit like this on the wall. That's what they write on their walls. They little ass don't be on shit, boy. We be out here. It's late, now niggas ain't out here. It's not 5 in the morning. It's not 5 in the morning. It's not no shit like.
I ain't gonna lie. This is called unemployed activities to the fullest extent, because people comment on my videos saying I'm the unemployed final boss, and I'll be like, no, these are the unemployed final bosses. You feel me? Don't say I'm the unemployed final boss.
Like that, it's 10 o'clock. See, where the fuck is y'all at? And I seen some of you niggas just ride past in them cars. I don't know if that was you or not, Lil Herb. Your ass was in one of them cars, man.
Choice in the alley.
Well,
You just want to get out that way.
fire his ass up too. First thing he do. Niggas hitting alleys and shit. Ain't no motherfucker worried about that shit. All y'all gotta do is start blowing. I ain't gonna stunt, G. I ain't gonna stunt. If you check the stats, for we been fucking.
Bro, you like this? It's so internet. It's like, bro, lots of these gangsters, bro, they do stuff for validation, bro, of other men. That'd be crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you. That'd be crazy.
Niggas up, but we ain't gonna talk about that. Somebody been fucking y'all up down here, boy. We just 2T killing. We ain't fucking around. And we finna, hey, matter of fact, I got a mixtape coming out, folk, called 2T Killer, folk. Called No Love. And ain't no motherfucker got shot in our hood in like 2 years. We gonna keep it real. Nigga ain't got shot from the lake in like 2 years. Nigga ain't been skint or none of that shit. Y'all straight cowards, man. Why y'all block so damn dry, man? We out here.
I ain't gonna lie to you. It sound like, and if y'all ain't know, I think that's KTS Dre. That's the guy that got unalived while leaving the jail. I believe that's him. But that happened like later. He actually one of the longer survivor members of KTS.
Here scattered though. Y'all ain't get no money. Y'all take all them fake ass videos and fake ass pictures. We definitely out here. There ain't a lot of us either. Y'all be like 50 deep. The niggas riding past, looking. Ain't nobody popped out, chat. Ain't no motherfucker tried to bust a shot out the car. That's y'all favorite. On that bike, I don't know if it is. Line his ass.
You see, like this stuff right here be blowing me. They pointing at random people, lining them up, bro. Folks just trying to go home. He just trying to go home. Why are you doing this? Obviously, you see they not outside today. The people that you looking for not outside today. So stop messing with the people that's just trying to go home. I ain't gonna lie to you. We don't condone any of that inside this educational documentary. And KTS, I'm pretty sure they still around. It's just ain't no rappers that's around. You feel me?
That's up though, and I'm getting on camera. We gonna sell this shit to World Star Hip Hop. Cause them niggas that be getting shot. How we had a 24-hour spot, Zen? We be here all night and don't nobody never shoot.
Bro, Trap Blue Reezy, why is you showing this stuff, bro? We don't want to hear these people. We know they just showing they outside.
First like they walking that way. Man, big bro, man. Real niggas do real things, man.
Hey, y'all know what it is, man. Me and my little brother, Z Real Sis. You see him, you gonna see me, man. You pull it, you gonna see slugs.
Oh, let me get the time for you, people.
Hold on, wait, get the time.
It's
bro.
8.
Hold on, let me get the.
Times was real life different. Times was different. Bro talking about, let me get the time. And this what he pulled out. This is crazy how advanced we is now. We overly, we advanced now. I ain't gonna lie to you because this is diabolical.
833.
And we up to now, my nigga.
833 out here, man. Niggas scared white bitches in the car. Niggas ain't no shit, man. Damn, dry as hell. That's one of the folks.
I just don't want to show no crazy
I want the
activities.
first one. Is he throwing up the rate?
What part of the city is this? Tarrytown?
Hey, what this Tarrytown?
You see, this is that goofy stuff I be talking about, though. Look at this. Look at this, though, real fast, chat. Why is they messing with bro? Bro is just trying to go home. He just trying to go home. Why you come? Why y'all? This is goofy behavior, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. Just messing with people that don't got nothing to do with it, bro. Look, bro, just trying to go home.
Yes, come here, man. Fuck with us. This Tarrytown? Yes, it is. Right here? This Tarrytown. Hold on, wait, say it again.
This is where we at?
You're in Tarrytown.
Oh,
hey, wait.
But they messing with the random what's the politically correct way to say? I don't know what to say, but the people that be outside off that stuff.
And we hold on. This guy got his ear shot off yesterday.
In Tarrytown?
Yes.
On Acids?
On Acids? No, down there on Second.
Now Lakeside?
Down on Second.
Lakeside? Come on.
I don't know. It look like he might. I don't know what might happen. I get nervous, bro.
Come on, man. Y'all just heard this. We from the lake, my nigga. You heard it from their own hypes on their own block, man. We is out here, man.
Them drillers is out.
Look, hey, man, shit real, man.
I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. You can't, bro. A hype vouching for you is like nothing to really brag about, bro. They just be saying anything. You tell them like, yeah, what was it not with you the other day? Yeah. You was on the block with me down the street. So it's like, bro, you can't take that serious, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. You really can't.
Man, y'all see them stores and shit, man. This shit ain't no game, man. You hear me? Hey, man, y'all know what it is, man. Stop putting that shit up on internet and shit, man, like y'all out here, man. Real shit, man.
We gotta shoot it all the way till we get back.
I terrorize you bitches enough by myself, man. We that a nigga fuck rock block, man.
I'm my little bro out here, man. The green hat y'all be talking about, man.
Hey, just in case y'all ain't know, that is my little brother, man.
Oh, they outside tweaking with it.
This shit real. He ain't playing with y'all ass, man. Guns squirt. We walking the
no
line,
bang, guns go
no
black,
bang,
bitch.
Bang, guns go black. Fuck you talking about. Y'all just shot a fucking clock and y'all put it on Facebook and Instagram.
And then y'all ain't even out here? What the fuck?
They said, then y'all not been out here? You said this is a W vlog.
Yeah, on this block.
What niggas gang bang like that, fuck?
Niggas gang bang like this. Look at that corner stuff. Ain't nobody out there.
Look at my young niggas.
Why y'all niggas?
Y'all probably can't even see them. We gonna get close.
Oh, they coming?
Right there on that corner right there.
Oh, okay.
Niggas ain't out here, man.
Let me get you, little bro. What's up? Y'all get ready to fuck with shouting on all type of shit, man. You hear me? YouTube, Instagram. Yeah. You hear me, man? We no secret, we here. Oh, yeah. Hey, and I'm one of you niggas late, man. I thought
bro,
it's 8:30 and you niggas not outside.
They still
man.
outside, bro.
Y'all ain't got no. Who the fuck is this? You wanna hit somebody?
Bro.
The third installment of the KTS No Lacking video series documented possibly the most infamous moment.
Bro, they just outside. They basically tried to show that I guess G Herbo and them not outside on the block like they outside on the block. They was over there on no limit stuff, being in they hood, basically just. I guess just outside, you feel me?
In this feud. The night would begin with the cutthroats patrolling the block and passing GD chants back and forth.
This Marquette, you leaving the motherland.
Bro, you still showing these people on the block, bro. Like, why is they on the block for this long?
Yeah, for a couple seconds, that's all. All the GDNs on the 9 walking this big, go down now. They go to cutthroats. Pasto, Dre, put on our that fast shit. You feel me? Leave the motherland for a couple seconds. It ain't shit. No lacking part 2. No lacking part 2. Part 3. Dusk.
Hold on. What time is
Hello?
it? What time is it? Wait.
Hello?
Get the time.
Oh, you quick.
Hello? Get my time. Yeah, man.
We got another one. Y'all steady pulling out these, and you know, back in the day, I guess this was the stuff, bro. But it's like, bro, that's diabolical. You pulling those out. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. This is crazy. What? I'm trying to figure out what is they recording on. If this is the phones that they using, What is they recorded on right now? I ain't gonna lie to you. That's what I'm trying to figure out, bro.
703. 703, man. Come on, 703. 703,
One particular member that's walking with the group to take notice of is Posto.
Here's the Posto. Yeah, what you trying to do? Yeah, we out here cruising. You feel me? Posto on motherfucker. No, you doing it right here to me. I ain't gonna tell y'all who he is. Just know he back down. Fuck you, Tyra. I already know. You back down. Fuck Town.
As a group, they would walk down 79th Street until they get to the McDonald's on 2425 on East 79th.
So that's what led up. Now, I didn't even peep that this was leading up to that incident. You feel me? I'm gonna keep the camera off because I don't know when the incident gonna come up. You gonna hear the incident, you feel me?
What about them hoe ass niggas? They size niggas up though. Niggas gonna go God and end up rock. Fuck the time.
Oh, back. You said they going in McDonald's. What happened?
And if you listen carefully, even as police sirens blare in the background, Posto seems to know that there are ops inside the McDonald's, telling those around him to get them outside so that he can pop them or blast them.
What happened? Blast him. Get him outside. Then I'm gonna pop. You got that on you? Yeah, blast him. Get him outside. Then I'm gonna pop. Yeah, blast him.
Bro, and then you seeing all this on it while he recording. While he's recording, like, all this stuff be for validation, bro. They be wanting so much validation. It be so crazy how that validation y'all be wanting be getting y'all locked up, bro. But they don't be caring.
Get him outside, then I'm gonna pop.
Yeah, this us, dumbass. These them killers. These them killers, man.
CT killers, right?
And so, after recording themselves walking through the front door of the McDonald's,
at this moment, he knew he done messed up. I ain't gonna lie to you. This video, Cairo couldn't get over this incident. Like, no one would have let him get over this incident. Like, but Cairo, he got over the incident. He even make jokes about this situation himself now. But looking back at it, bro, KTS, Dre, and all them, they still was like bogus because they like overly grown. So it's like, bro, why is y'all doing that to Cairo, bro? That's pretty crazy, bro.
Inside, they find numerous members of NLMB, catching them completely off guard.
Bro said something. He asked him a question before he hit him. Oh my God, bro. And nah, he was a grown man. He was a grown man inside this video. We do not condone anything that people that's not grown doing. Everybody grown inside this video.
KTS crew then begin to pressure the No Limit members, with KTS Dre grabbing a 17-year-old Cairo, pinning him to a wall and telling him to say fuck Rock, his friend who recently passed away. Cairo would refuse to say this and Dre would punch him in the face.
Yeah, you see. Yeah, you see that's crazy. That Cairo was that age and you overly grown doing this to him, bro. I ain't gonna back to you, bro. Like, that's crazy, bro.
At a certain point, a McDonald's security guard working probably one of the worst jobs in Chicago attempts to usher everybody out, at which point another NLMB member named Moody comes out the bathroom with something apparently tucked into his hoodie.
What you came out turned up?
Damn, no fucking price. We done. Let that, man. Come on, man.
I wanted some Mickey D's, bro.
Do try, don't do, man. Let's go.
Hey, man, cut those KTS, man. Cut those KTS.
Once the KTS crew leave McDonald's, they would walk into the streets in a celebratory mood, with other members waiting outside, seemingly pushing for further confrontation.
We KTS. No, fuck them. We ain't
fuck them. No. Hey, man, my niggas out here. We reckless. We out here, we reckless, bro.
Hey, what I say? Hey, what the fuck I say?
No. Shut up. Shut the fuck up, man. Stop running, boy.
fuck? Oh, back there, drop his bitch ass. Y'all know we on.
As KTS Dre walks away from McDonald's with the camera in hand, a few individuals off-screen are heard further back, closer to the No Limit members who were emerging from the McDonald's. And as Von continues to film himself walking away, people are heard off-screen mentioning a gun, and a still smiling KTS Von picks up the pace and begins to jog away from the scene, with gunshots eventually being heard in the distance coming after him.
KTS niggas, we out here, we rushing. We gone, fuck is you doing? Come on. Come on, please. We out here, man. One niggas reckless, man. Hey.
They is literally just.
Hey, shout out to the cutthroats, man. Let's go crazy. Alright, be cool, slow down. Down. You gotta be. Now get back to the hood, man. What you got tough?
Story has it, those No Limit members that were being pressured in McDonald's ran and got their hands on the nearest gun, with Posto from Lakeside apparently being shot in the arm during this off-camera confrontation. Following
Y'all heard it, bro. Y'all heard it. I didn't need to show what was going on. We don't condone anything in this documentary.
this incident, KTS Von would post the video to social media, with Cairo himself tweeting just how surprised he was that they still put that video up, considering how everything played out in the end. This incident, both the actual physical altercation and the disrespect of posting it online, made KTS Von the top target for No Limit members going forward, with this very confrontation essentially sparking a years-long personal feud between the No Limit and KTS members who were there that night. And clearly this was reciprocated, with the likes of KTS Von appearing regularly on social media, still lurking outside that very McDonald's, looking for further confrontation.
Out here, man. Pasto game, man. We were fast to say up.
Bro, you just showed a good 30 minutes of these grown men outside going to McDonald's and stuff on the block, pulling out flip phones and stuff, bro. It's crazy, bro.
Fuck you talking about? You don't want no McDonald's, bitch. No McDonald's. Fuck rock. Pasto game.
I'll be covering the bloody back and forths that came as the result of this incident later in the story, but one thing is certain, for better or for worse, this was a watershed moment in Chicago drill history.
Yup, and that's where we ended off at right there. You see, I was trying to find a good spot to end it off at, you feel me? But I've been like, I feel like this is a good spot to end it at, bro. I was trying to get through the unemployed activities before I end the video, but it was just so much unemployed activities going on, I didn't know when the video was going to end. I ain't going to lie to you. And I see why this video is literally 3 hours long. There's no need for this video to be 3 hours long. But he added unnecessary clips like that, you feel me? But in his defense, this is an old video, so you know, he was still learning at the time. But if you like educational, informational documentaries like this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you never miss out on educational, informational documentaries. Yeah, he was tripping. He was tripping, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm like, that video, bro, I'm just trying to get the little you dig off, bro. Just trying to get the little you dig off. Alright, I'm gonna do this. I'll do like, since this video just came out, I ain't gonna do too much. I'm just gonna do 20 minutes of it, bro. 20 minutes of it. Of this Toronto. How Toronto's most feared game crumbled. I just started off like this.
Before we dive in, I've got some exciting updates. First off, huge thanks for all the support. we're closing in on 50,000 subscribers. Never in a million years did I think we'd hit this milestone, and it's all because of you. I've also launched a new membership program packed with exclusive perks. Your support goes a long way, especially when videos get demonetized. On top of that, I've launched a new channel, Six Tales Music, where I'll be sharing my own tracks.
Hey, hold up, bro. You see, this the thing that creators gotta understand, bro. When people mess with you for your content, don't think they gonna mess with you for other things. You see, I'm not one of those guys. That's why I don't tell people on my TikTok to come over to Twitch, come over to this, unless you in my live streams because you mess with my live streams. But I don't really try to get people to come over to other different things because it's like, bro, lots of the times people mess with you for what they found you. So if you're doing that different stuff, they probably just gonna not watch that stuff and wait for the stuff that they like to come out. So I'm not. If your music good, then maybe. But I feel like at most you probably could have like a DDG situation. You feel me? Where if it's okay, people will be like, "Oh, I guess I'll listen," but it ain't gonna be nothing to take serious.
Remixes like the Clippers' 1950s edit, and exclusive music video premieres from talented artists across Canada. Check it out.
I thought you was finna be rapping, folks. You not rapping? I'm thinking you finna, man. Got me. I'm miscomprehending the video already.
In the description below. Once again, thank you all.
Dixon side, yeah, we move real low. Whole block hot, gotta watch that road. Rob Ford caught in the trap that's peak. Crack pipe lit, made the whole news leak. Dixon City, where the real ones ride. West End deep, gotta move with pride. Feds took the tape, now the world's all eyes.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Perfect summary of Toronto. Literally, they showing this video is actually showing a perfect summary of what I seen in Toronto all together. You feel me? So if you want to get like a good first impression of Toronto, just watch this little clip with the music.
Mayor in the bando caught in disguise.
The streets of Toronto have seen their fair share of gang violence, but few names have carried as much weight and controversy as the Dixon Bloods. Emerging from the high-rise apartments of Dixon Road, this ruthless crew built a criminal empire fueled by drug trafficking, gun violence, and deadly rivalries. Their reign of terror extended beyond the city's borders, reaching as far as Windsor and Edmonton, but what truly set them apart was their shocking connection to one of Toronto's most powerful figures.
Please welcome Mayor Rob Ford.
When a leaked video allegedly showed the mayor of Toronto smoking crack cocaine, the Dixon Bloods found themselves at
It don't even look like bro is supposed to be the mayor, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. Looking at him, bro, it don't look like he like the cool substitute teacher or something. You feel me? At most.
At the center of a political scandal that rocked the country. With law enforcement closing in, betrayals mounting, and gang members dropping one by one, the Dixon Bloods' empire came crumbling down. This is the story of their rise to power, their brutal street wars, and the fateful events that led to their downfall. The story of Toronto's notorious Dixon Bloods begins far from
Somalia. That you gonna hear about why people say they very dangerous people. I ain't gonna lie, cause I ain't gonna lie to you. I didn't really know about Somalis and stuff like that till I found out about Toronto. Then I'm like, oh, they be tweaking, cause I ain't gonna bap to you. I thought the Somalians was like Indian or something till they explained what they was.
From the high-rise apartment complexes of Dixon Road, in a war-torn country on the Horn of Africa. The gang's origins are deeply tied to the hardships faced by Somali refugees fleeing the brutal violence of the Somali Civil War. The war began in 1991 after the overthrow of the authoritarian regime of Siad Barre, plunging Somalia into a state of chaos as rival clan-based militias and warlords fought for control. The collapse of the central government led to widespread violence, famine, and a humanitarian crisis, displacing millions both within Somalia and across borders.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's Somalis in Chicago, bro. I feel like, well, where I come from, bro, lots of people ain't really diverse and like knowing like different ethnicities and stuff. I ain't gonna bap to you, bro. Like for a long period, bro, I thought I used to call, like, if I seen like a Hispanic person, I'd be like, oh, I just assumed that they was Mexican and stuff. And that then I start being around more and more people, and they be like, bro, I'm not Mexican. I'm like, you speak Spanish though. They be like, just because I speak Spanish don't mean I'm Mexican. I'm like, all right, yeah. Then I start actually paying attention to all the different Hispanic ethnicities, because I really just grew up around Hispanic, well, Mexicans, and I knew about Puerto Ricans too.
The war left Somalia without a central government for over 2 decades, fostering a failed state plagued by clan rivalries and the rise of militant groups like Al-Shabaab. Tens of thousands of Somalis, including many young men, sought refuge in Canada, hoping to escape the conflict and rebuild their lives in a land of opportunity. But what they found was far different from the safety they had imagined. Somalia was the source of the second largest number of refugee claimants in Canada in the early 1990s. By 1991, there were 9,000 Somalis living in Canada, with the majority in Toronto, and by the end of 1993, a little over 13,000 Somalis became permanent residents. As these refugees arrived in Toronto, they were placed in neighborhoods like Kingsview Village. Many were crammed into these 6 high-rise buildings, now referred to as Dixon City or Little Somalia, where dreams of starting a new life quickly turned into struggles for survival. You see, while Canada offered a refuge from war, it didn't guarantee the promised land of prosperity. Somali Canadian families living in Dixon City faced systemic racism, economic hardship, and a lack of community support. For the youth, this new environment proved even more challenging. Torn between the traditional values of their parents and the harsh realities of growing up in a divided, underfunded city, many young Somali men felt disconnected from both their heritage and the wider Canadian society. Faced with discrimination in schools, limited job prospects, and a sense
did I see some baddies?
In society, faced with discrimination in schools, limited job prospects,
How old is that? I mean, she got the big hoops, so I'm assuming that, I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone in this video is still older than me by a couple years. But she probably like the best looking, like.
and a sense of alienation, they found themselves caught between 2 worlds, neither of which seemed to offer a future. With few positive outlets for their energy, many turned to the streets, where violence, crime, and gang culture became the only way to gain respect. As they searched for a sense of belonging in a world that often pushed them to the margins, the Dixon Bloods emerged. For years,
Nah, some of them was cute. I ain't gonna lie. I probably would have got backdoored by a couple of them. If I was out there during that time, I probably would have got set up by a couple of them females. I ain't gonna lie to you, because they looking slight decent. I ain't gonna bab to you.
Years, Dixon had remained relatively quiet. Between 1990 and 2000, only a single murder was documented in the neighborhood, but that changed drastically with the rise of the Dixon Bloods. Inspired by the notorious Bloods of Los Angeles, they adopted their signature red colors, yet their motivations were deeply personal and shaped by their struggles in Canada. According to insiders, the decision to align with the Bloods wasn't just about identity, it was about retaliation. For decades, their neighborhood had been dominated by Crip-affiliated gangs, such as the Jamestown and Driftwood Crips. The Dixon Bloods wanted to shift the balance of power.
So it's the Dixon Bloods. Those who are they? Because I know ain't the Crips, the Crips got more clout and motion than the Bloods. Because I always be hearing about the Crips. I don't really hear about the Bloods for real. I ain't gonna lie to you.
And they weren't afraid to spill blood to do it. As they navigated the dangers of drug trafficking, gun violence, and turf wars, they became a symbol of survival in a city that had turned its back on them. Their rise to power would eventually bring them into the crosshairs of police and the media, as their story intertwined with one of Toronto's most infamous political scandals.
The early morning raids came after several months of investigation. They took place in Toronto and Hamilton, as well as York, Durham, Halton, and Peel regions.
A complex criminal investigation focused on the Driftwood Crips, their associates, and other criminal participants.
A crackdown today on a major Toronto street gang known as the Jamestown Crips. Local police forces across Canada helped out as well, and the RCMP and the Border Agency were also involved in a case that stretches from Ontario but also to Manitoba and Newfoundland.
As gang-related shootings surged across Toronto, law enforcement ramped up their efforts to crack down on the escalating violence. Determined to disrupt the growing gang activity, police launched a series of large-scale operations aimed at dismantling criminal networks across the city. In 2005, their first major strike came against the Ardwood Bloods crew, leading to the arrest of 44 members and a staggering 1,000-plus criminal charges. The following year, in 2006, they stepped up their game with an operation that even had a flashy name, Project XXX. This time, the target was the Jamestown Crew, a notorious Crip gang based in Rexdale, an area long considered a Crip stronghold. When the dust settled, 106 gang members were in cuffs, their operations severely crippled. But the police weren't done. They turned their attention next to the Driftwood Crips, whose home base was in the North Jane and Finch area. Another massive takedown followed, leading to the arrests of 95 suspected gang members.
Bro, I swear I see this clip every Toronto video. Not hearing about it, but them rusty shotguns and all that they be using, bro. It look like you gonna need a tetanus shot or something anytime you shoot those type of guns with all that rust up on it. I ain't gonna lie to you. We don't condone anything in this video.
Including many of the Driftwood Crew's original leaders. With every bust, Toronto's gang landscape shifted, yet one group remained strangely untouched, the Dixon City Bloods. Unlike their rivals, the Dixon Bloods managed to evade law enforcement's full attention for years. Their secret? Mobility. Rather than staying confined to one neighborhood, they moved between cities, adapting to new environments and avoiding long-term surveillance. Police were aware of them, but pinning them down proved difficult. That all changed in 2009. On a warm June night in 2009, a panicked 911 call sent police racing.
Ooh, no. Ooh, no. You see that AC in the window right there? First off, just looking at this apartment building, it looked like the projects off the back. But the AC in the window, if you want to know if an area bad, just look to see if it's any ACs in the windows. If you see an AC in the window, you're inside a bad area. And if it's not a bad area, you just got lucky. You feel me? But most of the time you see AC in the window, that means bad area.
Toward 340 Dixon Road. The caller's voice trembled as she described the scene. The lobby is drenched in blood. Blood is everywhere, she told the dispatcher. When officers arrived, they found that the caller had actually understated the carnage. The polished stone floor of the lobby was soaked in deep red, and at the center of it all was Ayub Aden. His wounds told a brutal story. He had been stabbed so many times that his stomach looked like a pincushion. Slumped against the lobby walls were two other teenagers, Abdiwali Abdullahi and Abdikadir Khan, both fighting to stay conscious. One had a deep slash across his arm, the other a gash in his back. They were lucky. They would live to tell.
Whoa, this is I'm low-key forgetting, like, this is Canada right now. I'm like, is we watching a UK video? I'm starting to see that, like, man, the UK and Canadians, y'all got lots of similarities too that we do not condone. I ain't gonna lie to you.
The story, unlike Ayub. For his family, the tragedy was unbearable. His mother had already lost a husband and another son to violence back in Somalia. Now on the other side of the world, in a country that was supposed to offer peace, she had to endure the pain of losing another child. But Aiden's death wasn't just another senseless act of violence. According to a confidential informant, his murder was the result of an internal power struggle within the Dixon Bloods. The gang was changing. The older generation, the ones who had built Dixon's street reputation, were growing tired of the life. Some had gotten married, others were planning to leave for Western Canada, hoping to escape the cycle of crime. Simply put, they wanted out. The younger generation, on the other hand, wanted more. Fueled by the fast money of the crack trade, the young bangers were thriving. They carried guns and lived by a code that left no room for weakness. They had no patience for the older generation who wanted to walk away from the game, because to them, quitting was betrayal. As a sign of their evolution, the younger members even dropped.
Bro, no. You see, talking about quitting as a sign of betrayal. Have y'all seen the oldest YN? You see, when y'all find out about the oldest YN, then you will understand that quitting at a certain age is actually a good thing. You should not want someone at a certain age doing those type of activities. I'm not gonna lie to you, especially if you've seen the oldest YN. You feel me? If you don't know about that, check them out, and then y'all understand why, how you look at a certain age if you continue doing these type of activities that we do not condone.
Dropped the Dixon Bloods name, rebranding themselves as the Double Up Gang, signaling their desire to carve out their own identity, one that was even more ruthless and less forgiving. And for 16-year-old Ayub, well, he had found himself caught between the two factions. Whether he was a direct target or just in the wrong place at the wrong time, one thing was clear: the streets of Dixon had officially turned into a battlefield, and the bloodshed was far from over. In the years that followed Ayub Aiden's murder, the violence in Dixon only escalated. The neighborhood became a war zone, with bullets flying and bodies dropping as different factions battled for control. Police records paint a grim picture, with hundreds of pages detailing young men exchanging gunfire outside the Dixon high-rise buildings. Gunshot victims stumbled into emergency rooms with fresh wounds, some inflicted by enemies, others by their own crew. One such case involved officers sitting at a red light, suddenly hearing up to 10 gunshots ringing through the air. Racing toward the sound, they found chaos in Dixon City. Witnesses described how a group of men had been hanging out beside a daycare facility when 3 unknown shooters approached.
First of all, why is a group of grown men hanging out around a daycare center? That's the first question right there. Second off, why would someone decide to shoot at the grown men standing by the daycare? I mean, listen, if it's nighttime and the daycare closed, I guess I can understand why y'all decide to do it. But still, why is they standing in front of a daycare? Like, normally it's like in front of a liquor store or something like that, but in front of a daycare? That just sounds pretty crazy, I ain't gonna lie.
Approached, opened fire, and then fled in a getaway car. Among the targets that night were 2 well-known figures in Dixon: Anthony Smith, known on the streets as Rondo, and Libin Siad, nicknamed Gully. Police suspected that this was no random attack. Dixon's wars weren't just about rival neighborhoods anymore. The conflict was becoming increasingly personal. As the years wore on, the gunfire never stopped. Dixon had become a place where violence wasn't just a possibility anymore, it was an expectation. And for those caught up in the cycle, there were only 3 ways out: a desperate escape, prison, or death. Unfortunately for Abdikadir Khan, it was the latter. On March 20th, 2011, Khan, the other boy stabbed alongside Ayub Aiden, was executed. Khan was in the stairwell of a Dixon City high-rise when an unknown gunman put a 9mm slug in the back of his head. It was definitely an execution-style slaying. Since there was really no good reason for Khan to be in the stairwell, police suspect he was snatched from his apartment and then led at gunpoint to the stairwell, where he was executed. The implication was that whoever killed him was well known to Khan, someone he knew and trusted.
That backdoor stuff, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. You see, you can't count, like, if you backdoor someone, you can't even count that as a body, bro. Like, first of all, I don't, if I find out anyone that I'm around backdooring people that they was cool with, I've got to cut them off, just because it's like, you backdooring people that you cool with, you gonna backdoor me, depending on who you hanging around, you feel me? So, no backdoor stuff, we can't trust that at all. And you can't count that as a body if you backdooring people. We don't condone anything in this educational documentary.
The medical examiner guessed that Khan had laid in the stairwell for about 11 hours before anyone found him and called for an ambulance. A red...
How? That's how you know it's a bad area, bro. When it could literally be a shooter that happened in the stairwell and no one don't call the police. That means they used to this type of stuff. They're like, oh, man. Hopefully they probably thinking like, hopefully it ain't another gunshot. Maybe it's fireworks. They're hoping it's fireworks or something, you feel me? And in real life, it's someone fighting for their life. That's crazy. I ain't gonna lie to you.
jacket, not Khan's, was found at the execution scene, like a movie prop. Embroidered on the jacket was the phrase "Dead Men Tell No Tales," which was the title of a 1938 British thriller movie. As a result of Khan's murder, the owners of the Dixon City high-rises decided to hire private security guards to patrol and protect their buildings. That didn't last long.
Bro, I am not trying to be no private security at a projects. And I know they not paying that good. I know for a fact y'all is not getting paid that good. No, boy, I'm not being no security guard at the projects, bro. If I'm being security, real life, bro, security is a good job, bro. If you're not securing anything dangerous, I ain't gonna lie. If you secure something dangerous, that's where security ain't really that good of a job. But if you was at a nice suburban area, you probably at a club or something doing the security there. It's cool. You could talk to the females at the club or whatever. You security at the hospital, you could just chill. But security at the projects? Nah. No.
Within months, the guards were rarely seen. Most of the guards just...
It really looked like they probably got sticks too. Cause I ain't gonna lie to you. They be trying to do security in the projects, bro. They be trying to do that, bro, but it don't work. That stuff always end up vacant. I ain't gonna lie to you. And then if these people walking around with sticks, batons, and walkie-talkies, oh yeah, bro, it's definitely ain't gonna last long.
Just didn't show up. According to them, it was too dangerous and they weren't getting paid enough to risk their lives in what they considered a war zone.
Hey, they was thinking what we all was thinking. They smart. All money is not good money. I ain't gonna lie. I get a security guard job somewhere else. If I gotta drive a little farther, so be it. But I'm not doing here. The only reason I'm not doing one of those.
And because of city ordinances, the police couldn't enter the high-rises unless they were called by the now non-existent security. If they did, they were guilty of trespass. It was a lose-lose situation, no private security guards and no police presence. By the beginning of 2012, the Dixon Bloods had solidified their control over drug distribution in Toronto. Their operations extended beyond the city, reaching Windsor and Edmonton, where they established drug supply lines. The gang primarily dealt in cocaine, crack, marijuana, and crystal meth, moving large quantities through a well-organized network of street dealers and traffickers. In addition to drug trafficking, the gang became heavily involved in gun smuggling. Most of the guns came into Canada from Michigan. Gun runners concealed the weapons in the bumpers of cars driven by Canadians residing in Ontario.
I ain't gonna lie, Michigan do got they got actually good gun laws. You feel me? Like, it's easy for you to get a gun legally if you're in Michigan, if you're a Michigan resident. You feel me? And Michigan is right next to Canada. I ain't gonna lie to you. I didn't know that Michigan and Canada, I didn't know I was this close to Canada till I went to Michigan, and then I realized Michigan is super close to Canada when I started doing the live streams. You feel me? That's when I found out that I was actually kind of close to Canada.
Traveling to the US, back into Canada. Attaching GPS trackers to the cars transporting the cars would be traced and the guns retrieved at a later date. The drivers of the cars had no idea they were ferrying guns into Canada. Once recovered, the guns arrived in Windsor.
I ain't gonna lie, that's really the best way to do it, because look, if you got someone knowing what they doing, they gonna get nervous, and then that's how everything get messed up. But if they don't know that they doing anything wrong, they ain't gonna act like they doing anything wrong. You get what I'm saying, bro? So I feel that's honestly like a more smarter way to do it, because you tell someone what's going on, they get pulled over, they get to that border check, they sweating, pacing, oh yeah, let me search this car a little bit more harder, just because he acting a little bit too weird, a little nervous and stuff.
Where they were transported to Toronto and later sold to the Dixon Bloods. In other words, there was a prodigious gun pipeline between Michigan and Toronto. This access to weapons made the Dixon Bloods particularly dangerous, as they frequently used violence to settle disputes and maintain control over their territory. Their rise in power inevitably led to violent clashes with rival gangs. These turf wars resulted in a string of shootings, murders, and retaliatory attacks, making Dickson City one of the most dangerous areas in Toronto.
Also at 5, it's a city that rarely sees this type of violence, and tonight we're learning new details about this weekend's deadly shooting rampage at the famous Eaton Centre in Toronto.
Breaking news reports that 21 people, some of them children, have been shot in Toronto. At least 2 are being reported dead.
Not only unprecedented in Toronto, I've been a cop for 35 years, and this is the worst incident of gun violence in my memory anywhere in North America.
In Toronto, community leaders, along with that city's police force, are looking for answers after a spate of deadly shootings over the past 4 weeks. The youngest victim was just 9 years old, and that has many questioning.
I ain't gonna lie to you. If I know, I ain't gonna lie to you. Any of my homies end up going on a hit and they accidentally hit a 9-year-old, you better not tell me, because I'm gonna tell you to turn yourself in, or you can't be around me. I ain't gonna lie to you, because I can't condone none of those activities, because it's like, put your little sister inside that situation, or your little brother in that situation. Then it's like, bro, you won't want that happening to your people, so I just be like, yeah, anyone that do that, bro, you gotta go, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. You gotta, that's just diabolical. We don't condone anything inside this documentary.
What's behind the violence and where the guns are coming from.
The summer of 2012 was one of the bloodiest in Toronto's history. A wave of gang violence gripped the city, leaving citizens on edge and authorities scrambling for solutions. First, there was the Eaton Centre shooting, where a gunman opened fire in a crowded food court, sending terrified shoppers.
You see, that's like one of the problems right there, bro. That's why innocent people end up getting hit, because it's like, bro, in this type of situation, you shouldn't be letting off no shots. Just because it's so many people just going out just trying to live their life, bro. Like, it's no reason why you have to do it in this type of situation. But the thing is, people don't got no respect, you feel me? And when you don't got no respect, you gonna do things like this, you feel me?
Shoppers running for their lives. 7 people were shot in the carnage, leaving 2 dead. Then came Danzig Street, where what began as a lively block party in Scarborough turned into a war zone. A barrage of bullets tore through the crowd, leaving 2 bystanders dead and 23 others wounded.
And that's why I don't be going to no block parties, no house parties, none of that. I'd rather just get lit at my own crib, as y'all can see what I did in the other live stream. Like, it don't be worth it going out, because it's like you never know who got problems with who, and these people don't got no aim. So it's like you could just, unfortunately, just get hit in the crossfire, and that's how it be. And life is all about chances. So you need to lower your chances of being inside a bad situation, you feel me? That's how I feel.
It was the worst mass shooting Toronto had ever seen. The violence wasn't just random, it was part of a larger pattern, one that had been quietly escalating for years. The Somali Canadian community, particularly those with ties to Dickson Road, had been bearing the brunt of the bloodshed. By 2012, the numbers were staggering. At least 50 young Somali Canadian men linked to Dickson had been killed, not just in Ontario, but as far as Alberta. Families were being torn apart, mothers were burying their sons, and the community was left pleading for action. Behind the scenes, law enforcement had already been piecing together the puzzle. They had amassed a staggering 3,000 pages of police affidavits, documents detailing years of criminal activity linked to the Dickson Bloods.
Bro, that seemed like boring. Like, that just seemed boring. But then at the same time, it's people like Trap Lil Raw. He just doing this just because he want to do it. So there's probably some people that like to do 3,000 of document pages of these people. Like, I feel like anything that involves like paperwork, I don't like. I ain't gonna lie to you.
These files contained intercepted phone calls, court-approved wiretaps, vehicle tracking data, and search warrant requests. The picture they painted was grim, a ruthless, well-organized gang with deep ties to Toronto's drug trade and a sprawling network that stretched across the country. It was time to act. In June 2012, police launched Project Traveler, a year-long, multi-agency operation designed to dismantle the Dickson Bloods. It was the most ambitious anti-gang operation Toronto
has ever seen. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. You know, we gonna end it off right there just because he just released this video. And I don't want to be one of those guys who just, try to, post the video as soon as he make it, you feel me? So I want everyone who watching this video, you feel me, to go support the original creator, you feel me, page. He just released a video. This is the full video right there, you feel me. As y'all can see, 6 tails, you feel me. Type it up. I will be doing part 2 tomorrow, but I want to let him, you know, get his views, his engagement. I don't want to mess up nothing that he got going on and stuff. So everyone that do see this video, go over there for the part 2. Well, for the full video, or you can wait on me to do the part 2. You feel me, tomorrow. But if you mess with educational, informational documentaries like this, then you should like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you never miss out on any educational, informational documentaries like this. Yeah, this video, I didn't want to do too much of it. I want to let his stuff, you feel me, do it. That's your city. City's fortunate. That's crazy, man. I ain't gonna rap to you. The Hells Angels, they said those one of the biggest gangs out in Canada. I ain't gonna rap to you. It's 3 o'clock already. I ain't gonna lie, chat. I'm gonna hop back on live. I gotta do these TikTok videos because I was behind last time, bro. I didn't get the work done that I did last time for TikTok, bro. So I gotta do it this time. And I'm gonna hop back on live and stuff, you feel me? Because I'm up. Y'all see, I'm busting still, you feel me? I just wanted to come in, you know, we didn't do no reactions or nothing. So I at least wanted to come in, get some reactions done and stuff, you feel me? That's what we supposed to do, you feel me? And we're gonna be back in a live stream, you know, later. The usual time. The usual time is really late. Y'all know I don't be hopping on live like this. I hopped on live like this because I be like, man, we gotta get some live. We gotta get some reactions though. We gotta do some reactions, you feel me? Even though I did something with him that I could just post. But it's like, I want to do something because I ain't really do nothing in a live stream for real, but be lit, you feel me? So, yeah, had to get some content, you feel me? But I appreciate everyone that tuned into the live stream, man. Y'all the real ghosts, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. And I'm going to see y'all later today, man. Y'all